You're on camera. Say something.
Last night and night before, there was 3 women walking down the street that way. I saw them. I said, hey, you 3 women, why are y'all walking down the street that way? There's nothing down there. And they flew away. I said, oh, them were some birds.
I'm in heaven. I'm like getting the feeling of coming in the gym. I'm getting the feeling of coming at home. I'm getting the feeling of coming backstage when I pump up, when I boast out in front of 5,000 people. I get the same feeling. So I'm coming day and night. I mean, it's terrific, right? Getting the feeling of coming. So, you know, I'm in heaven. The feeling of coming in the gym when I pump up. Coming in the gym when I pump up. Coming in the gym, coming day and night. I mean, it's terrific. Coming in the gym when I pump up. Coming in the gym, so you know, I'm in heaven. I'm getting the feeling of coming in the gym when I pump up. I'm in heaven. When I pump up, I'm in heaven. When I pump up, I'm like getting the feeling of coming in the gym. It's terrific, right? When I pump, right? I'm in heaven. Right? Getting the feeling of coming in the gym when I pump up. Coming in the gym when I pump up. Coming in the gym day and night. Coming in the gym when I pump up. Coming in the gym. Coming in the gym when I pump up. I mean, it's
could be Trump. Yeah. Trump. Oh yeah. Trump. 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 Could be Trump. Yeah. Trump. Oh yeah. Trump.
Yo, Snoop Shoot K on the mic. This one for all my time disgraced geisha bitches. Yeah. No, we back in the day, 16th century, same Goku era, straight feudal energy. Samurai on the rise, Ganyo in the mix. Oda, Tokugawa fixing conflicts quick. Ninja creeping in the shadows, silent and swift. Castles fortified, loyalties to gifts. Bushido cold, honest in the heart. Blades clashing, battlefields the art. Same Goku times, it be wild and crazy sizzle. Samurai life, it's the warlord fizzle. Feudal Japan in the house like a dread sizzle. History in the rhyme, feel the ancient sizzle.
Before we begin, what do you think of my totally accurate samurai attire, right?
Long ago, in a distant thread, I didn't give a fuck. But a foolish voice actor, wielding a QWERTY keyboard, stepped forth and insisted that I should.
Barbara, thanks, but I don't give a fuck. Barbara, thanks, but I don't give a fuck. Thanks, but I don't give a fuck.
And kneel and be amazed at the touch of the black man. I bring life.
Little turn on the TV, they hit the Pentagon! They hit the fucking Pentagon!
from the sleep. Lessons of the past on repeat. Wide awake from the sleep. Lessons of the past on repeat. Wide awake from the sleep. Lessons of the past on repeat. We rising, no holding us back. We worldwide moving as a pack on the streets to the heights. We only attack. They try to hold us down. Put your money on black. Money on black. Money on black. Money on black. Money on black.
Put your money on black. That's right. Yep. Good evening, Black Shirt Army. Hope you wore your black shirt. I know who didn't, but that's okay. It's cold on her side of the continent. But as you can see on screen, there's a bit of a cold shoulder over in China, too. Here to help me unravel the mystery of what's going on in the Sino side of the world is the lovely Miss Nerdigans.
Hi, Black Shirt Army. Yes, it is cold here in California.
Believe it or not.
At least for me. And I wanted to rock at least my Juicy Couture. So
I thought that was a flavor of Jolly Rancher, but she tells me it's something you put on your body. So.
yes, I am surprisingly, I am a label whore. So
well, speaking
right,
of
Mikey.
speaking of the
Speaking of whores,
yeah, right.
China
So-
thinks lesbians are whores.
Well, China thinks everybody who's outside of baby making is a whore because they have a demographic problem that's more dramatic than Korea's and more dramatic than Japan's coming up about 10 years after Korea's and Japan's due to that lovely one-child policy. And so they created 40 million boys, okay, that will never find a physical mate on the continent of Asia. That's including India. There are 40 million Chinese men that will never meet a physical partner. Okay? You know what that means? They're not going to have kids. That means there's 40 million dudes that are going to need care here coming up soon. They're going to start retiring here soon. Well, and so China, rather than being nice like Japan, like, please, would you have babies? You remember Abe? You remember Abe? Sorry, I got an American friend that calls him Abe, and it's starting to bleed over onto me. It's Abe, it's Abe, Shinzo Abe. And he was like, yo, you should have babies. It would be really good if you had babies. Like he was having ice cream that time. And he's like, after impregnating my wife, I like to go out for ice cream to calm down. He's not with her, implying that she's unconscious at home. She's been sexed into unconsciousness. And he's like, I could go for ice cream. And he just gets up and goes and gets ice cream. And so on the other side of this, China's like, there will be no ice cream. There will be no rainbows. There will be baby making. And if we have to use machines, we will, but we don't want to make it get that far. And so here's where we are. They've banned ladyboys from television, and now they've banned any type of women having interactions with each other, because what you're about to see isn't blatantly lesbian behavior, but it is implied lesbian behavior given how these characters behave. But they're not playing tonsil hockey. Nobody's doing the Dragon Ball Z midair scissor. There's nothing like that. They're just sort of, if you didn't know the context of their relationship, you'd just say that they were sisters. So here's what happened. Well, Ms. Nerdigans, do you have anything to add to that?
Well, I just think it's funny because if you look at the replies and the quote retweets, the same people that were praising China's censorship of women, you know, scantily clad women, they're silent now. They're like, oh, China's homophobic. It's like, you see, now censorship is okay until it's something that you don't like.
Let's take a look.
Is that singing?
All right. So if you're wondering, what's happened here is that it's a 3D presentation. It's not, it's like Pixar, that kind of thing. So they can pluck a character out and nothing changes about the environment or the animation. However, the sound gets very bizarre. Okay, as your ear tells you that there is an invisible person in front of you, yet the camera is trying to tell you that that person is across the room now. And it just doesn't, brain says no.
It's just a tune my mother used to hum.
I love leaning on thin air.
Are you still in this fight?
It's so soft.
Violet? I am the dirt under your nails, Cupcake. Nothing's
So
gonna clean
weird.
me out.
Yeah, they're clearly sitting in the same space. And that's that. And she's just sitting there staring at her across the room like, I'm not gonna cry. I'm just gonna stare you dead eye with my one eye, and I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry. You know, it's bizarre, but I appreciate one thing about this, that they could just subtract a character from this and it didn't change anything. So I have to appreciate that Arcade season, whatever, the season 2, maybe not hitting on all cylinders if you could just subtract a character from a scene and it still accomplishes the same effect. You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
And that's not like you're taking the lampshade out of the background. Those characters were meant to have this physical interaction, but the emotion is still conveyed. So I don't know. Maybe they know more than they're telling us, huh? Maybe they actually know how to do this, and they're just fucking with us, right?
Maybe.
It doesn't accomplish the same thing at all. The entire context. Oh, I understand the entire context has changed, but the emotional moment of these two characters having a bonding effect, having what is presented in China as a sisterly bonding effect, has not lost its gravity. Let's put it that way. What's awkward is that they're clearly in the same space unless they have mirrored paintings on the walls that absolutely match every 2 feet. But again, if you're not that astute looking for that interaction, the bonding here is that they're having a sisterly bond versus in the Netflix Western non-China version, they have a romantic sort of bond. I'm not sure if these characters are supposed to be in love or not. I think that's what's supposed to happen here. So again, you get a sisterly bond in China and you get a romantic bond there, but the gravity of that emotion isn't lost. And I got to give them credit that they at least managed to make it work, you know?
Yeah.
Well, the romance, of course. I don't know about friends. They seem like sisters. If you were to stop somebody immediately after seeing this scene in China and ask them what their relationship was, they'd say, "Oh, they're sisters." And that again, it's like the reframing that they did with Sailor Moon and Neptune and Uranus. It was clumsy. Yeah, it was clumsy, but they did it, and that's what they've done in China here. Is they've managed to retain the gravity of these two having a bond that matters to them, without the romance that they are trying to filter out. And I have to give the animators credit that they were able to accomplish that. That's not easy.
I don't think they did as good of a job as they did with Sailor Moon, because with Sailor Moon, it was just changing the dialogue.
Stuff like this gets banned. Yeah, Sakura Mida, it does. Yeah,
It does.
black guys get banned too.
Well, yeah, black guys get
Yeah.
banned because China is racist.
China has right now has a very Han Chinese centered mentality. So it's not so much that they're embrace this white supremacy homophobic thing. It is that the Han Chinese reject these ideologies as they find them inferior, despite these things existing in their own histories as well. And so now the effort is to go out and purify the culture by force. And as I mentioned earlier, you're no longer allowed to show ladyboys on television. And that's not your Thailand ladyboys. That's men wearing, I guess what falls just as more aggressive than a K-pop dancer. If you're more done up than a K-pop dancer, you can't be on television. But I guess that's the limit of like how feminized a man can be presented on television. And again, I'm not saying that the K-pop boys are feminized, but they are. Some of them are. I dare you to tell me otherwise. Some of them are, but most of them aren't. They're not. And it's not so much cross-dressers, Balzat. It's men like Vincent Price would be someone, because his mannerisms were effeminate. These kinds of things, and he said dear and sweetheart and all these things. Richard Simmons would have never have been on television in China under these rules, that kind of thing. And it's more about censoring out these elements that they feel are non-traditional to what the ultimate apex Han Chinese culture is. And you know, it's what happens when you get a dictator that's obsessed with that kind of stuff in place. We saw it in Germany, and we saw it in Pol Pot had a bit of that going on. Of course, the Japanese had that under Emperor Yamamoto. Yamamoto, where, well, of course, all the emperors, where the Japanese had like divine right to rule, that kind of thing, to conquer. So, and the Koreans had 1,500 years of uninterrupted slavery. So, I mean, like everybody gets it in their head that they're the best, and it's China's turn to play this game. So, again. That's what it's all about. It's really about reinforcing what is traditional Han culture, but they're not. Han culture is like a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of Russia, a little bit of Vietnam, a little bit of Mongolia, a little bit of Korea. And of course, it's just one of those things that you have to accept about the world. They're going to keep doing it. And one of the things I just have to appreciate is that they did okay, That's one of the things I like about this is that they did okay. I wouldn't say that it's meant to hit as hard, obviously, but I get that these two care about each other. And that, when you've got to remove a character from a scene and not have these two characters featured in the same camera shot is what it looks like, that's impressive. I'll give them that. I wait till he finds out about femboys existed in ancient Egypt. Exactly. Every culture on Earth has had this streak in them, and that happens. It comes and goes. Some of them make it a thing, like how Thailand turned it into a kind of one of those black market economy things where they don't out and out acknowledge it, but it is something that's been there for a while and isn't going anywhere. That kind of thing. And China just has a huge problem controlling their culture at the moment. Like they had like 300,000 university students get on bicycles and just peacefully gather and watch movies together and have like some like flash mob carnival. It was crazy. It clogged up a bunch of streets. People thought it was some kind of protest. So now the government's going around and confiscating their bikes. So to prevent them from like doing this again, because it could lead to an uprising, it might inspire people to ride their bikes at once, and that would be terrible if people rode their bikes all at once. But it's just more. Exactly. It's just more of China's inane backward mentality about control. This is the thing my father taught me. You let people go. He used to be a police officer up here in Maine, so it's not anything totally difficult, but weird stuff happens in the woods. And what he told me is that you let people go a little bit crazy so they don't go big crazy, right? So they don't go big crazy. So, no, we don't have to give China credit. I'm giving studio credit for doing what they did. That's what I'm saying, is that's impressive that they were able to maintain that these two characters care about each other despite having them completely removed visually from one another. From what I saw here, neither one of them were in the same camera shot as each other in China, and yet they conveyed that they cared about each other. I gotta give it to the animators, the studio, to be able to cut a character out of the scene and still be able to convey that they have a bond. It might not be romantic, but I get that these two care about each other in the Chinese version as well. That's all I have to say about it. That's what I'm trying to convey, is I'm impressed by them, not China's decision to wipe this stuff out. I'm just impressed with the studio being able to do this. That's what it is. It's all this upside down culture stuff, and that's the way they like it. Image from the cross-dresser picture. I didn't know what to make of that, Sakuramita. That's not my speed. It's nothing against you or whatever. I don't know what that was about, and I just didn't want to get into it, especially in public, because I didn't know what that meant, and I didn't know what the intention was. So my silence was not judgment. My silence was just curiosity, and I didn't want to follow that with my mouth. Again, Spencer, I guess, but I would not have thought to do that. I would have been stumped with how to convey this by not having them together. I would have been stumped by it. And that's why it impresses me, is that they were able to reason out, like, okay, if we play the audio just right, we can move this out, move that shadow there, and then it looks like they're not even in the same corner of the room. And that, I got to appreciate it. That was pretty clever. I wouldn't have thought of that on a first pass. Much money do they redo each scene? I don't know. I don't know how much they get to do each scene for China. I think they have to do it for free. You know, so because China's law. It's like how we can't have a like here in the U.S. We're not allowed to have cigarettes featured in like cool advertisements anymore. Not like Cool's the brand, but like aesthetically pleasing advertisements in like media. I want to say it's like in cartoons or in like family media and stuff like that, like rated R movies and stuff, and movies that are made for adults. That's fine. TV made for adults. But I want to say there's some federal law that bans it from being in some type of media that children can get access to. I'm not sure specifically what it is, but it's like that. It's like that thing. So whoever is doing that has to. Oh, it's like Sanji. Sanji had to stop smoking and get a lollipop when he was in Four Kids, and it was that law of how you can't glorify smoking, and you have a hero smoking, and they don't care that he's not actually smoking or he's smoking because he's stressed out. It's that he's smoking. And so that's what this is here. It's that equivalent to that. But rather than trying to save you from lung cancer, they're trying to tell you how to live your life. You gotta love China. They're just the paper tiger, the most annoying paper tiger that nobody manages to wipe their ass with and be done with. Well, again, like I'm sorry, Spencer. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, dude. I just found it to be clever. I'm not trying to say that it's good to do this. I just thought that the workaround was clever. That's all, man. I'm not trying to say that Xi Jinping had the right idea, and I'm not saying that the studio was right to buckle. I'm just saying, for what they wanted to accomplish, it worked out. And, you know. Yeah, it costs the production company to make the edits, absolutely. But it's they're not being paid as in like the studio from the government to get this done. They have to make those edits out of their pocket, as you're alluding to. Yeah. And Spencer says, but that's what I'm trying to say. Content aside, the workaround is lazy and bad. They just removed one model and didn't even change sound. Okay. Okay. We're gonna have a difference on it, but that's all right. I'm not gonna give them a Golden Globe over it. It's just one of those things that just I was like, whoa, and okay, you didn't find it that amazing. That's fine, you know. What the hair and the cigarettes? I'm not sure. What about the hair and the cigarettes?
I just think the main thing that's fascinating that's coming out of this, and I'm just think it's about time something comes out of this, is that the people that have been just praising China for the censorship of, of female characters are starting, their hypocrisy is starting to show. That's like the best thing that's coming out of this, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, and the thing that a lot of people are kind of waking up to is that China is not the like utopia of the world. So the more that they push this, the more that they come up with these ideas, the more that people are like, oh yeah, all that propaganda I see that about China being in the year 2036 and the rest of the world is in 2024, that kind of stuff. Oh, it's a lie. Yeah, my bad. And that's okay. That's okay. That means the propaganda is effective. It did what it was supposed to do. You've now woken up to it though. So the more China does this stuff, the more people like the Genshin kids that have their heads turned around backwards and up their butts, the more China does this stuff, the more they're confronted with the reality that maybe these mega corporations aren't on their side. Maybe these mega corporations just want money. And they'll play up to them where the government allows it, and they'll ignore them where the government demands it. What an idea. But speaking of the government getting into things it probably shouldn't, there's an Ellerby mom that was disturbed over a manga purchased at a school book fair, and the district pulled all the copies of it.
This blew my mind. So the manga in question was oh my god.
Unico?
Yeah, Unico. It was Unico Awakening. And the mother bought this manga for her 6-year-old. And this manga is not for 6-year-olds. It's for like, I think it was like for 8 to like 12, I think it said. But she like complained to the district saying that over gun violence and animal violence, and well, they agreed and pulled all copies out just because of that. And it's like, really, like the Scholastic website even says it doesn't show like some of the violence that's in the book, obviously, but they do. The Scholastic website does say that the book was recommended for these specific ages, and it's not recommended for 6-year-olds. So this is on this mother's fault, on this mother for doing this, and it wasn't in the library either. It was from a book fair.
So this is the hypersensitivity to media right now. We see it over and over and over again. We saw it growing up, in fact. The moms of America in our time were very, very worried about this new video game stuff and how it was telling boys to just murder. And there was this GTA game where you could grape a prostitute and you would get rewards for it, stars or something. And then you could kill the police. Can you believe such a thing? And so here now, all the way fast forward 2024, we've come back into this hypersensitivity over media where we are not policing what kids are looking at so that we're not explaining what the context of this is. When a child is reading a comic book where a character is brandishing a gun and kills another character with it, I don't even think it doesn't look like they killed the character with it there. But you need to make sure it's over your kid's shoulder. And that's really why this parent freaked out. I promise you that's why this parent freaked out, is that they wanted attention because they didn't know that was in there. And once that got in there, they're like, oh, I bet other parents didn't know. So I'm going to go viral with this. And here we are. And it's the age-old thing. You remember when you were working at GameStop, they bring in, little boy comes in with his mom. He said, yeah, this Call of Duty game, Mom, Elmo's in it. Elmo and the Cookie Monster. I'm not lying. Of course. They're just not on the cover. It's a secret, right? And, they look at you like, don't let me down here. Come on. And that's what this is like, it's not over this kid's head, obviously. It's over the parent's head.
Yeah, the kid was the one that brought it to, his parent. It says in the article, brought it to his parent, was asking his mom about it. He wasn't like freaked out. He was just from what it said, he was just asking for context, which is what, as a kid, if you have a question, you should do. And the mom was being ridiculous about it. She didn't know what to do, which is as a parent, that's a bad thing if you don't know what to do.
Well, okay, let's say that a character is killed in this scene. Okay, I can't clearly make that out for sure to know, but let's say a character is killed in that scene. And if your child is, of course, not histrionic over it, you have them, you explain to them, yeah, this is what happens. That's what a gun does. A gun serves no other purpose. It's not meant to do anything other than to take life. It's not meant to brush your teeth. It's not meant to turn the lights on and off on the light switches. It's meant to kill. The end. And that's a very powerful lesson to pass on to a young person, especially when they're being exposed to these ideas like mass shootings and they got their teachers at school freaking out about these assault rifle 15s. Their heads spin around. But this right here, again, not that violent. I mean, you remember growing up with the stuff that was available in the comics section and the manga that was coming through. If it wasn't in Shonen Jump, it was some pretty hardcore shit that was coming across. The only thing you could get for children's manga was through Shonen Jump and Tokyo Pop. I want to say were the two.
Tokyo Pop.
Yeah, and everybody else was like, hey kids, want to see a dead body? It was just merciless.
Yeah, there was. Well, Viz did have like I got volumes of like Rama Half and stuff like that from Viz, and then there was Tokyo Pop.
Viz, right? Viz.
Yeah, there was Viz and there was Tokyo Pop, and I think there was some Kodansha stuff. I could be wrong.
I thought they were the ones that were really heavy-handed with that. With a lot, didn't Kodansha bring Berserk across?
No, that wasn't Kodansha.
It wasn't. Okay.
No.
Well, either way,
Dark Horse Comics is the one that has Berserk, the license.
Oh, okay. But either way, we had stuff like Superman: The Dark Side when we were growing up. These sorts of things. We had that time in the '90s when the
We had
characters
like
were ripping each other's bodies apart
Yeah,
and
there's
stuff.
also Tenchi Muyo, which has a lot of nudity. There was
Right,
obviously there's Dragon Ball, which had quite a bit of mixture of nudity and violence,
right,
which people still don't seem to understand that there
right.
was nudity.
Mortal Kombat with
Mortal
all the
Kombat.
violent.
Oh God, that's what
Yep.
started the ESRB was Mortal Kombat.
Well, and see, so this is what it is, right? So 50 caliber ARs. Are we hunting T-Rexes? Jeez. But see, and what's simple again is that it's a gun. It kills, Junior. That's all it's meant to do. All right. When you see a gun and you're not in control of it, try to get away from it.
But
You
seems
and
but
again, the
it
kids
seems
just
to me though, it seems to me, Cider, that it's like it knows it's a mother that's doing it. It's not a dad,
yes,
it's a mother. Like
yeah,
dads are able to like sit down, and this is what I've noticed too, because my dad was the one that when I was growing up would read books with me.
hmm
And that's how I got into reading. Dads are usually the ones that are able to sit down with you and just explain everything and explain how the world works a little bit better than mothers are. Because mothers are very hysterical and they're very protective. That's a maternal instinct.
yep.
Fathers are a lot more, usually, I should say, a lot more calm and collective and they are more, what's the wording I'm looking for? Their paternal instinct is to just like explain everything more logically and not so emotionally, if that makes sense. I think that's why you see more mothers and more Karens coming out with being the ones that are complaining more than fathers are.
Well, there's some truth to that. I'm sure it's not 1-to-1 full 100% across the spectrum. But
No, 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 no.
my mentor told me when I was growing up, he explained that men and women speak different languages.
Yeah.
Men speak in logic and women speak in emotion. Neither side is wrong, but they don't tend to come to an agreement very quickly. And he gave me an example. He says a husband comes home late. The wife says, "You've been home late every day this week." And he says, "No, wife, I was home on time on Tuesday." Boom, there's a fight, you know? And that neither side is wrong. She feels that he has not been home. Her emotional response is he is not being home enough. His logical response is, "I have been home. I was home on time on Tuesday," because he did not register the emotion. And it's not a 1-to-1 monolith, but this is sort of how people go about it. So I understand when you're coming from that mothers tend to be more, "Oh my God, my sweet little baby is being exposed to violence. I don't like this. It'll steal their innocence and poison their mind." And then dudes on the other end, fathers, are like, "Yeah, that's a gun. You want to see the one I have here? Mine's not even black. Mine's gold. You want to see the gold one I got? Yeah, I got a video game about a gold gun. Yeah." That's what dads do. But it's different. It's different again, it's just different how it goes. Well, stereotypes exist for a reason. It's not meant that every single person is a stereotype.
No,
Yeah, obviously
this
not.
is a generalization more than
Right.
so. At least from my point of view, this is what I've noticed in all of these articles that I've seen of all
Right.
these, and just in general, just thinking about it. Just think about like going back to the '90s. Who was doing this? It was all these overprotective, far right Christian mothers. It wasn't. There might have been some dads up in there too, but it's most from what I remember, it was mostly mothers, like overprotective mothers doing it, like helicopter mothers. Because I know for a fact not all moms are like this. I've been around, one of my best friend's moms is a total hippie. I live in California, so this is to be expected. One of my best friend's moms is a total hippie. She does not give a fuck about all this stuff. She let my friend and her brother like basically play whatever they want. So this is how I got exposed to gaming too, because they had a Sega Genesis, and yeah, they got to do whatever. So everyone's parenting style is different, but like but my point is like the majority of cases we've seen with this is mainly from overprotective mothers.
Right. And as Spencer points out, there's overprotective dads as well. And as we pointed out, the stereotype exists but also technicalities exist. Everybody's different. And for the sake of argument, when you look at who pushes these buttons the most, you don't see a lot of dads going out and raising Cain over Harry Potter books. You do see a lot of moms. When we were growing up, especially in my area, because I come from, the North, where the Northern Baptists, the Methodists, the Pentecostals, the Catholics, and who are those other guys? The Orthodox. They're all here, and they're very aware of witchcraft. The revolution is still alive up here. And so, yeah, they got very paranoid. My brothers and sisters asked me if I was reading Harry Potter or not, to make sure that I wasn't watching Harry Potter. And my sisters were very, very concerned about my mother reading it, that I needed to pray for my mother to stop reading Harry Potter. My brothers weren't like that. They were like, whatever, that's your mom. You stay away from it, though. And that's what it is, though, is that as we were growing up, the stereotype, as we witnessed it, was mostly the overprotective mother that felt that the innocence of their child was being threatened by these things that they, without a glance, judged as impure and poisonous. And now we see it again as there's a gun in a comic book that my child asked a question about. We had better ban all the copies on the shelf in response. So, yes, you do have overprotective dads that go through and get very ugly about the same things, I'm sure. I'm absolutely positive that exists. But in the majority of what we witness, it is typically women who get upset about this, who get excited, let's put it that way. And that's all I'm putting out. I'm not trying to enforce that every woman everywhere has to be that way. And Nerdigans isn't either. No one's putting this out as like it's an every woman everywhere does this.
No. And also my mom was never like this either. My mom is a moderate Democrat, a California moderate Democrat, which might as well in today's time be fucking conservative, I swear. But no, my mom wasn't like this back in the day. Hell, she wanted me to read Harry Potter because she liked that I was reading. So, but I've actually talked to my mom about like these bannings, and she thinks it's ridiculous. She thinks these parents are just being, they're overreacting and they're being way too overprotective. Like my mom does a little bit of helicopter parenting, but not like this extreme of a helicopter parenting.
And again, it's one of those things where, well, no, it's which for me, he asked this, he says, all of Nerdigan's examples are, well, yeah, it wasn't my case. So what are we even doing here? Well, witnessed a case is one of those things. That's a lived thing. And again, when we were growing up, it wasn't hard to come across these people that were censor heavy. And again, it gets even worse though, Spencer. Like this Tennessee school district decided to just wholesale go into this high school library, do the whole, like, you remember that 30-second supermarket shop thing, game show where they just loop their hand onto the shelf and scoop it all into the shopping cart? That's what they did at this manga shelf in the library. They're just like, assassination classroom? I see you're a Trump supporter. Into the cart it went.
It's not just from what I saw in one of the articles that Anime News Network cited. It's not just manga either. There's like young adult fiction too getting
whoa. Detective Conan got taken off air?
Yep. Detective Conan's like one of the safest manga out there.
Yeah. I mean, is there even... Oh, okay. Yeah, there is blood in it. Yeah. All right.
Like outside of school, blood.
What?
At a high school, it's like, what the hell? Like middle school, Detective Conan is fine for middle schoolers too. Like,
well, this just says schools. It doesn't say high school.
So that would include technically middle and high school. Just like maybe later, and you could see the rest of it without subscribing.
Oh, neat. Oh, yeah. Well, we talked about this before the show started. I think high school is okay for Attack on Titan. I think middle school might be pushing it. Elementary school is a no-no. I don't think Attack on Titan should be in elementary schools. Middle schools, yeah, we can debate it. High school's fine.
It. Yeah, same with like stuff like, well, Hunter x Hunter is debatable for middle school, but like most of the manga that's listed there, yeah, high school is definitely okay for them. But it like middle school is where you could be like, okay, now we can kind of debate it a little bit.
Right, Detective Conan? It's crazy.
like Detective Conan is I call Detective Conan like the MacGyver of manga. So it's like very educational. It's kind of like Dr. Stone in a way too. Where you actually kind of learn a little bit to learn to think on your feet and like use all these like everyday items. This is why I say MacGyver, like everyday items to like solve a case.
Yeah, banning the manga in the libraries are really not what you called. Yeah, they're not. It's not smart. It's not smart to do because again, we see manga's very popular right now. So if you want to get kids reading, give them manga.
But getting rid of Shakespeare is really weird. Getting rid of manga Shakespeare is weird. Like Shakespeare is kind of part of the curriculum. Don't you want people reading Shakespeare?
Well, they don't actually. They don't. They want them reading Marxist theory. They want them reading stuff that has nothing to do with actual human expression. It's more about corporate control. But I digress. These people most likely got rid of that stuff again because of the violence in it. That's my best guess. This seems to be the through thread that I'm noticing with with these, is that they don't appear to be banned for pornography reasons. What I can see through here, it appears to be the through thread in all of this is violence, and maybe excessive violence, judging by the list. I'm not saying it's bad excessive. I'm saying that, like, in My Hero Academia, characters are losing limbs.
Well, in Vigilantes, that's what it's saying is Vigilantes. Like, only, like, 1 in 3? Like, what? That's what? What? That's weird.
And that leaves volume 2, so you have no clue what's going on and all the questions you could possibly want. Yeah.
But, like, Vigilantes is not that bad. Like, the only thing... yes, there are drugs, but it's called Trigger. It's not, like, specifically weed or cocaine or anything like that. It's just Trigger. It is a steroid kind of thing. And yes, there is violence, sure, but yeah, it's a superhero comic. Like, what the fuck do you want?
Right, and Yuyasha's got another one where characters are losing limbs. The Promised Neverland has a lot of child abuse themes in it.
Yeah, there's kind of a lot of child abuse up in there.
So, is there another list? No. Okay. So.
But it's so weird.
Soul Eater, though? Is Soul Eater that violent? I don't
remember. Soul Eater, I don't remember being that violent. Like, Fire
Maybe we're
Force,
desensitized, though. I mean, we've seen a lot of shit, so I don't know what
Like,
the
they're going
bar
after-
of acceptance
well, Fire
is.
Force, Fire Force, I know it's mainly because of the lewdness. I know it is. It's got to be more so than the violent, even though it is violent. But still, it's like, come on, this is ridiculous. I mean, you're basically coddling at this point. You're sheltering them.
Well, I don't know if it's coddling. It looks like it's purification. And I want to say that there's a political element to it, but it does appear to be an effort to strip out Japanesey stuff that flies in what is considered traditional American culture.
That's what it
that
seems
doesn't
like to
fly,
me.
rather. That, I don't want to put my finger on it directly as religious, Spencer, even though there's definitely roots there, as you pointed out. But because I just don't think they'd have that hold, even in Tennessee. Like, as I understand Tennessee as an East Coaster, being closer to it, it's not that it is a Democrat-held place. It's just that's a very high hill to climb to say that we're going to clean all the manga out because it endorses Japanese culture over American culture, in which gayness and yuri and themes of extreme violence are okay to show children. And that I can say that that's a religious goal, sure, but it also meets the goals of people who want to erase the influence of Japanese culture that endorses mostly heterosexual pairings. And then also it wants to erase the burgeoning and blooming individualist narratives that are coming out of newer shonen manga, rather. So. He says, Cider, I know you're conservative leaning and I want to see the best on your side, but I don't see it's 100%. It could be 60%, certainly, but I definitely see where people who want to remove Japanese stuff from schools, Like, you know these people, Spencer. They see Japan and they hate it. They see anime, they hate it. Look, Geeks and Gamers just went through this with Az and Gary. They pissed all over anime the other day. That, it's a lot of really weird stuff in there. A lot of bullshit. The rate of Mahler was going on with like the rate of failure with anime, and so this is a situation. Read the bottom. Recent manga removals, bans, first grade, Mineral Springs Elementary, have a depiction of gun violence and animal abuse when a man attacks a cat. The bottom, Utah banned 13 manga books. Is
Yeah,
the very bottom, Spencer? Yeah. Utah banned 41 school districts. Tennessee, under a new law that bans books in all of Utah. Okay, so there's no specification on what that law is. Oh, pornographic and indecent material.
Indecent, quote unquote. I kind like just looking at the list. I kind of have to. I really feel like this is mostly, especially considering the state this is. It's Tennessee. Like if this was like, say, if this was in Seattle, for example, I wouldn't say this is a religious pearl clutch, but this is Tennessee. Tennessee is a pretty religious state. So that's why I'm like, I kind of got to side with Spencer on this just a little bit, that this is very, especially since if you want to make the argument that it doesn't fit with the school curriculum, you got freaking Shakespeare on there. Shakespeare manga being pulled off of the school shelves. Yeah, that kind of says something right there. And also Bungo Stray Dogs, the characters are based off of literature characters. There's characters that are based off of American literature in there. So yeah, there is kind of that too. And hell, Detective Conan is one of the safest manga out there. So the fact that they're pulling those kinds of titles off the shelves, yeah, this seems to me that this is a very much like a religious thing than anything else. And Fire Force does kind of, in a way, poke at Christianity just a little bit. So
it would also be considered indecent material.
Yeah.
Given how violent it is. So.
Well, besides the lewdness and the violence, it would probably fall into indecent territory because it does, in a way, mock Christianity just a little bit. Ano, I'm just thinking if Ano Exorcist you could make the argument that would fall into that category as well, because there is some there's depictions of Christianity in there too. So there is that. But the rest, like Promised Neverland, yeah, you could make the argument of it not being in middle schools and stuff like that and have it just be in high schools. But like a lot in Jujutsu Kaisen, it's the same thing. And same with JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. But like a good chunk of them, it's like just something, it just seems weird that they're being pulled.
I'm trying to figure out what's in 1 and 3 in Vigilantes.
Vigilantes Volume 1 is obviously the start of the series, and you get the introduction of Knuckle Duster. I think, if I remember with Volume 3, that is the introduction. I could be wrong, but I think that is the introduction of Stain.
Well, still, but then 2, though, I just don't understand why 2 is the one that was preserved. There must be a character or a scene that either happens or repeats in 1 and 3 that doesn't in 2. It's such a strange situation. And where's the gay in Fist of the North Star? Is it because he doesn't have his shirt on?
Probably. I don't know. That's a good question. Like, what if
was Toki gay? I don't remember. Was Toki gay? I don't think he was. I don't remember him having like he just killed things. I don't remember him having any other trait. He was like Lee. Oh God, Ken. He just killed. All of it? So is it all manga? What are they passing? Because if they so just consider this. If Case Closed is not okay, how is My Hero Academia? But yet all that's here is Vigilantes.
So this is not a well-researched list. If it's more
Oh,
than
good.
that,
It'll expand. How great. But
dude, I gotta look at these sources.
Inuyasha. Oh, the dog and the girl. Okay. All right. I get it. Okay.
Oh, they're worried about they're worried about bestiality. Is that what they're saying? Oh,
Yeah,
they went after
yeah.
the Handmaid's Tale too. I think I have the full list.
Is that different from the one that the feminists are all up about? Or
Yeah, here it is.
it's-
I have the full list. It's like 9 pages, but I have the full list. Hold on.
Oh, God.
Here's the full list. But yeah, like the Handmaid's Tale is on here. There's Case Closed, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Red Hood is on there. There's 13 Reasons Why is on there.
The reason why I can't scroll.
What does it mean by high? The Crank series. Oh, they got the Crank series too. Oh, that sucks. Let's see.
Yeah, there's Case Closed right there.
Yeah. And there's Versus at the North Star. There's Clockwork Orange got hit. Let's see.
Is it? Wait a minute. Why is that one in it?
Clockwork Orange?
Yeah.
That's a
little
good
over the top.
question.
I don't know if I'm bothered by that one being taken out. That one might be okay. Ready Player One. Whoa. Ready Player One. Ready Player. What?
Yeah,
What happened?
this is definitely pearl clutching. Yeah, seeing like the full list. Yeah, this is definitely like religious pearl clutching shit. It really is.
H.G. Wells's version. Oh, the graphic novel. Okay, that might be. That I don't know who. Dobbs. I don't know if they put the Eloy. I don't know if the Eloy are nude in that one or not. The original story described them as being free, so I'm not sure. I hate everyone but you. That's interesting.
Let's see. There's a lot, man.
The Dark Tower. Oh, the graphic novel version of it. Okay, well, there's a lot of gun violence in that one. They can. But yeah, Stephen King too. That could be the reason why they got rid of it too. It could just be that simple.
Oh, they got rid of the Umbrella Academy too. They got rid what? They got rid of the Umbrella Academy? That's wild.
Why did they trans that character in the books? I don't remember that character being transed in the books. I thought it was just Elliot in the show. Vampire Knight. Yeah.
Let's see.
Social 5 Stages of Andrew Brawley.
Oh, they got the Witcher books too. Oh, they went after the Witcher books.
The graphic novel of Blue Exorcist. That one's gone.
Yeah, that's the manga. Yeah.
What the hell is the Green Mile doing in high school? Oh, that opens with oh boy.
Well, put them into you. Like, if they want to just get rid of lesbianism, like I kind of understand why that got pulled. But that's like
that's whoa. Bleach 9, 34, and 42. What the hell? How come that's It makes you wonder what is in those to make that isolated. Whereas, like, the whole of Blue Exorcist is gone. Only 9, 34, and 42 of Bleach are. Like, what the fuck?
Like, this is so weird.
It was random. They had to have been like rolling dice. Like, okay, that one's half gone. Those only 3
Yeah.
episodes are gone.
But yeah, like I agree with Spencer that this is definitely like some pearl clutching, like the church shit. Like I already kind of figured that was the case, but yeah.
Do you see now by review?
Yeah.
Loud.
What?
Loud.
Well, loud aside, I will fix that. But do you see what I'm saying
Thank you.
now? This
Yes.
This isn't a leftist Marxist thing. This is
No.
a religious puritanical going, oh my God, woke. I hate woke. I need to protect my kids from woke. That's why you only see 3 volumes taken out, because those are the ones their kids went to the library, checked out, and they happened to catch on the kitchen counter. Because there is nothing in those volumes that is any different from the rest of the series.
Right. I can't
And then when
imagine
you're
Orihime's
pulling
boobs
out-
are any more booby in them than they
Exactly.
are anywhere else.
And when you see them pulling out, books like, I know you criticize the Green Mile for high schoolers, but that is a standard thing that high schoolers read. They're just pulling out books that they think are woke. That's all they care about. There's no actual care for the children. There's no actual care for the content. It's just another stupid culture war moment.
Yeah, it's Handmaid's Tale should have been like the first clue for that.
Bingo. You don't have to like the book. I think The Handmaid's Tale is stupid, but that doesn't mean, oh, it's suddenly inappropriate for people to read and it should be taken off of shelves.
No.
I literally just got here, so I have no context of what this conversation
The
is
only thing I'd say back to that is that the whole premise of it is that women are forced into sexual slavery, and I don't know if that's high school level.
But high schoolers also deal with the real realities of war, like the Holocaust, right? Things that are happened that were way worse than that. And they're also, they're not ignorant. They have the internet. They're exposed to the world. They know bad things happen, and coddling them the more you coddle kids at this age and say, oh, don't look at the bad things. Don't worry. Don't think about this or that. That's where you end up where we are now with kids going, fiction is reality and everything matters. And you can't depict this or you're going to hurt everybody in the world. Like
Think of how many lives Eternals would save.
Oh no.
What?
Remember that actor? He looked dead on into the camera on the red carpet and he said, think how many lives this movie is going to save. Remember that?
Did he? I do not remember. I genuinely
He literally
don't
said
remember
that. He looked dead on into the camera and said that.
That's embarrassing.
It was
He did that. No, I understand. My first reaction looking at that was like, yeah, I've only ever heard from leftists that manga's evil. So
No, I've seen a lot from
Dude, you've seen
the
it from
right.
Matt Walsh all the time. You call him out.
yeah, I don't consider
About how
Matt
anime
Walsh
is satanic.
right. He's a carpetbagger like his
I mean, yeah, no,
owner,
he totally
but-
is a carpetbagger. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, a lot of people on the right do listen to him and do agree with him very often. Like he'll post those takes and you see the replies are like, yep, all this man-child shit, so lame. Why don't they go get like it's all that all the time.
And it happens on our end too. We have Gary and Az and Mahler just pissing all over anime. I think it was
know.
yesterday that
It was
it's
yesterday, yeah, I saw the
it's
clip.
creepy, and it's these underage characters, and it's all very strange what heroes they have, and it's like,
Don't we have an anime Lord of the Rings movie coming out in like 2 weeks?
yeah, he already saw it. Gary saw it and he liked it,
Oh, okay.
but anime sucks otherwise. Yeah.
Right. Well, it's that same. They're not going to like to hear this, but it's that same mentality we see out of like Kotaku and the mainstream video game journalism, which is just a blatant like hatred for anything Japanese. I don't know what it is on the right. Like on the left, I know that the hatred comes from like they're eating our lunch. People are listening to them and enjoying that. Right. I don't know what it is on the right, but there is still that weird, like Japan, weird, ew, gross. We don't want to deal with that at all.
Yeah,
But I single-handedly blame Nerdigans for that.
What I do?
She's recovering it, she's recovering the reputation, if anything.
So Bowsette, yeah, Az was on with Gary on Nerdrotic Nooner. I think it was yesterday, and they were Mahler was talking about how he is not Someone sent a super chat telling Mahler it's more than Dragon Ball Z. It's more than whatever else Sailor Moon,
Probably
stuff
like
like that.
Pokemon, One Piece.
Yeah,
probably
whatever.
Simple
Name
things.
one of those ones. And they all just started talking about how creepy anime was. And then Mahler brought up the fail rate, that a video game has a smaller fail rate than an anime has a fail rate. And Az started in agreeing with like, yeah, you're right. Anime has a larger fail rate because it does produce a lot of really sketchy shit. And then I was like, all right, I'm out. Bye.
Yeah, that is
I'm leaving the Anime Haters Club. I'll see you later.
For those who are wondering, the fail rate, and Nerdigans can know this, there is a high fail rate, but it's also because they just produce 1,000,004 things, and not all like it's a problem right now. Like they're producing way too much.
To be fair, I always just thought that animes were only meant to be like 1 or 2 seasons because they always seem to only go on for like 1 or 2 seasons. I just thought that was just the norm.
A lot of good ones do, but then you get like the exceptions, like your Dragon Balls or your One Piece.
Inuyasha.
You happen to go,
Or your Pokemon.
Inuyashas, or your Pokemon. Yeah, so like you're right. Where long form series are more exceptions to the rules, and then but yeah, that's a good point too. Like most series are made with 1 or 2 seasons in mind.
Yeah, well, and the other thing you got to remember is that manga is designed to go forever. You fail if you don't go forever. That's the goal. The corporation signs you to create until you are unpopular. Once you fall off the top 10, you may stop making manga. Up until then, you can't.
Yeah. The slight caveat to that, which is what I'm Cider probably just like missed one word, but it's you can end your series. Like if you're a creator, you can end a series, but you cannot stop. You have to have like another thing to deliver them or else. Like famously, Akira Toriyama actually wanted to stop Dr. Slump way back in the day, his first series. He wanted to stop it after 1 volume because he's like, that's all I got. But it was so popular that his editors at Shonen Jump were like, you are not allowed to stop this until you give us something that we think is going to be a suitable replacement. And that's how we got Dragon Ball.
And it was the same thing with Dragon Ball. Like he wanted to stop it after Frieza. And they're like, nope, can't.
They're like, nope, too much money.
And then he kept it going, and it's still going and going.
Still going.
We're gonna continue to see this though. All right, I think the millennials are the last generation to have their nose in the air about anime. So the attitude that it is again, there aren't like the Zoomers are like obsessed with it or whatever, like wall to wall weebs or Zoomers and alphas. But the majority of them have exposure to anime. The majority of them have some exposure to anime. They have either some positive linkage to it or some tolerance linkage to it, you know? It isn't like when we came up when they were like, oh, your Dragon Ball Z thing, that means you're gay.
Right.
Drag my balls, Z.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Oh, I haven't heard that one in 8. I'm having like a legit like weird nostalgia flashback. I have not heard that one.
The pain nostalgia.
Ages.
You know?
Yeah, the pain nostalgia.
Poke my balls, bro.
It's like literally like a Vietnam flashback, except for just a locker closing.
Yeah, right. Never had that problem, but no, there were just kids that just didn't understand You think it's weird being a Pokemon Digimon fan? Try being a Zoids fan in rural Maine. Okay,
it was so hard.
It was.
Yeah,
No,
nobody
you guys deserve to
understood
get bullied.
robot fucking animals. They didn't get it. They just didn't understand. I mean, these aren't Power Rangers Zord things that come to no.
Yeah.
They have their own personalities.
It was so
sometimes they
weird.
don't like the people they work with.
Like it was like people had a reference point of Power Rangers, and then maybe if you got lucky, like Gundam
Or Beast Wars too.
or Beast Wars. Yeah,
This is
but they could
Transformer,
never
right?
Right, but they could never like separate that. You know what I mean? Like they looked at it. It's like that SpongeBob joke with Patrick and his license. Like this has your address, right? Yeah. So it's like this is a robot, right? Yes, anime can have robots. Yes, they can have animal robots. Yes, this is an original series. That's a Gundam. Like it was always like I don't know what it was. Their reference point. It always had to go back to being that, and they couldn't accept that it was something new. It was always odd.
And again, this is where the millennials are the last age group that have this issue with like sticking their nose up to anime. So we're going to see it now that our age group
the
is coming
Vatican's
into
in on
power.
that game.
Well, they said that Baron Trump is the king of the internet. So maybe there's a young junior pope out there that's like, hey, we need to get into the anime.
Have you seen Baron Trump's like artwork?
He draws? No, I had
Well,
no idea he
it's
could even hold a
artwork.
pencil.
Well, it's artwork from like when he was like 8 or something.
Oh. So they're gonna
so
put it on the top of the Sistine Chapel, are they?
Well, my point to this is that maybe they will in this anime future because here I'm shooting over a link to you, Cider, if you wanted to look at it. But so this came all this art came out like during the first campaign for Trump, and it was just like a kid's website, but it's like clearly animeified. It's all Skylanders. It's big booby like anime chicks. It's hilarious. So if anybody's going to be the king of the anime future, it's definitely Baron. He has my vote.
This is pretty metal. It's pretty metal. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like with a little bit of polish, this is like the animator that did Cyborg 76 or Zero.
Oh,
the Cyborg family.
Yeah, 009, I think is what it is.
009. Look at the curved nose. Look at how the nose curves back in to make the nostril.
You gotta share it.
Oh, I am. I'm not showing it.
Oh, okay.
There it is.
Which nostril then?
See, look at that nose. The guy's nose, they curve back in an S. They make that back curve back up like an S does.
Oh my god!
And that's
who's
how
who's gonna make the "Where's their organs" comment? Because
Yeah.
someone has to make that comment, right?
Yeah, it's all
That was actually
Skylanders. You're absolutely right. There's Spyro. Look at Spyro.
Right, yeah.
Spyro.
No, they were actually Kamala was going to ask that question, Jacob, on the Joe Rogan show, but she just never went. So
Mm.
No,
Yeah,
but
that
yeah,
would be
that's
smart.
100%
Pick on
Skylanders.
Trump's Trump's son's art from when he was a child. That would really help her.
look, I know we're not a religious show. I know we're not a political show, but I will at least say, like, at this point, what could have hurt her? Like everything that's coming out, it's not like she was doing
It's
great
true.
at any point anyway.
It's true.
Very true.
I could draw better than Baron Trump could 10 years ago. Watch me, Joe.
We all saw that video that came out today. I'm sure as soon as the camera's off, that was what she said. Give me some crayons. I can do this. I can draw like Baron Trump. The kids will love her. Oh, do you not know what I'm talking about, Cider?
No, I'm looking at this bear.
Oh,
and
okay,
woman
okay.
In the cave, and I.
What the fuck?
What is this, Boulder Gate 3?
Yeah, is this
Baldur's
Baldur's
Gate
Gate?
3.
Yeah. Baldur's Gate.
Look at that face, though. It's a pretty good girl. Like for an 8-year-old or whatever he was.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
ain't good. This one scares me though. This one he messed up and it ends up looking like Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Hee hee.
Hee Snake.
Don't bite me, Snake. I want to be your friend.
That's
Snake,
ignorant.
yeah.
That's ignorant.
Oh man. There's an unfortunate thigh muscle placement from Baron here.
Yep. You saw it. I saw it.
I just thought
Everybody saw it. We're gonna stop seeing it now. But yeah, there's that. That happened.
Hey, do you guys want to? I don't know. Start the show.
Well, I wanted to point this to you guys. I didn't have anything planned, so I thought we'd play Cards Against Humanity.
Oh,
I can
Online.
play.
live. You're here.
Yeah, we can play
I'm
online.
100% planned.
All right, then.
Yeah, why not?
You feel like it, Nerdigans? You want to play Cards Against Humanity
Oh my god. Okay, sure.
online? Okay, we'll start the show, and we'll walk it. We'll get it going. I'll spit it out eventually. I'm all excited. I'm
Whoa!
all excited.
Lights are soft, the night feels still. We've carried this weight, we've climbed this hill. Candles flicker, shadows fall. But I feel a little hope in it all. Pull up a chair, pass the bread. Raise a glass to the year we've had. We lost some, we gained some, love still near. So we sing through the dark, make it loud, make it clear. We'll be alright, we gon' be alright. Through the storm, through the fight, yeah, we'll be alright. Hold tight, we gon' sing tonight. It's Christmas, yeah, and we'll be alright. Do you hear me? Do you feel me? We gon' be alright.
begin. The holidays have. Everybody buckle up for the war on Christmas.
Apparently, Harry Potter killed Spencer and stole a suit.
Only on Twitter can you find a bunch of minors, well, fatherless minors, attacking people over fiction.
Mustard!
Okay, what is okay? First of all, yes, Jacob, you're not wrong. I forgot I was wearing my glasses. They're special limited edition Gundam ones, but they 100% make me look like Harry Potter or an old Japanese man, depending on which one you want.
You do look like
okay.
Harry Potter. All you need is
Right?
the scar.
Yeah, no, it's pretty bad. But okay, what the hell is that meme? I don't know what it is. I'm being a full boomer right now. What is that one?
So Kendrick Lamar had a really great idea to open up a song.
With mustard.
And he just shouted mustard.
Oh,
at
that's
the
is it
top
like
of
an
his
opening?
lungs.
Heck yeah, okay.
And so it has this nice beat up. It's like don 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 mustard.
Mustard!
And then it breaks into start breaking it there. It's so stupid.
Perfect.
And so
Well,
like you've got like the Dragon Ball Z thing where like they're doing the show off, and like Goku goes and he falls off and he's transforming into the Ultra Instinct Goku, and where you hear that noise, you hear mustard.
Mustard! That's okay. Now,
And then
now
the
that I get
music
it,
plays.
now I get it.
Yeah. It's so bad. It's so bad. But
I mean, is it any? Okay, no, because if I start talking about that, it'll turn into a music show, and we are not a music show. No, we are the 01 show here at
Especially
Bounding
shitty
Instinct
music.
Comics. I mean, yeah, Drake is the subject of what I was going to say, but it is the 01 show. What is going on, everybody? We are happy to be here. It is the night before Thanksgiving. I hope you're all in your fasting mode so that you can load up tomorrow. I know that I'm going to need all the rest and food and alcohol I can possibly get because I have to watch the Bears play tomorrow. But we couldn't leave you guys hanging this week. I mean, it's by definition, it's playing. All right, it's technically playing. It's not my
Hopefully
fault.
By definition, that there will be two teams on the field tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly.
One of them won't be playing.
But yes, we couldn't leave you guys hanging without, of course, your Tokyo Happy Hour with Nerdigans and Cider. I hope you guys all enjoyed the Weeby updates. But of course, we are also here for the main 01 show where Cider, Nerdigans, Jacob, and I are here to hang out with you and apparently play some Cards Against Humanity. I'm pretty stoked about that.
Yeah. So, I need to figure out how to invite you guys.
That would be
Alrighty.
Yeah.
that would be somewhat important.
While we're doing that, I will boot up our chat and I will say hello to some of the lovely folks we have hanging out. I know we've got RJ McReady. I know we've got Yi Ching. We've got Bowsette. A couple of you guys have already been here since Tokyo Happy Hour. So welcome. Thanks for joining us in the real show, or the main show rather, not real.
Just a
Sakura-
complete burial.
Dude, no, I know that felt like as soon as it left my mouth, I'm like, oh man, that sounds so bad. We've got Scooby, we've got Sakura, we've got who else is hanging out with us? That looks like who we've got right now for the pre-show. Of course, people will roll in, but I'm happy to see absolutely all of you. What are you guys all doing for Thanksgiving? Let us know in the chat. Also, do you guys all do normal turkey at dinner? And I'm going to ask you guys on the panel too. Do you guys just do normal turkey dinners for Thanksgiving?
No.
As I've grown up, I've learned to, because we usually do like a combination of like turkey and ham, but I really started to like ham less and less every single year. I was like, no, what? Just give me the turkey. Just go with something turkey, either a Cajun turkey, because I can do Cajun turkey, or do me just like a regular like smoked like turkey. Like I don't need the ham anymore. It's just like
just because then it's too much, and then it lasts for like you're like, oh great, I have leftovers for 2 weeks, but then you fail to realize like
refrigerated leftovers for 2 weeks. And it's like, oh
exactly.
yeah, I didn't think this one through.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh boy, after next 01 stream, I'm gonna have some like stuffing and turkey, and then I go get it, and it's like, again, it's like legally defined that is turkey and stuffing, but nobody would want to eat that. But aside from that,
well, since we're talking about things here for a second, let me talk about something here.
Yeah, I was just going to BS anyway.
Make a little rant here about one LeBron James, because I figured, why not? It's Thanksgiving Eve. We can talk about stuff like this.
To add to your thing, and before you get into it, did you see they made him a custom Monopoly, or not him, but like there's now a Monopoly set for like themed after LeBron, and like the pieces are like his jersey, one of his shoes, the ring he got after he left Cleveland, and I'm just like, shut up, go away.
Well, he did announce he was leaving and going to Blue Sky. Last I checked.
Is he? That one feels weird to me because I'm like, why? What athlete cares that much?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot going on here. So, what's his face? LeBron James is apparently playing like complete horrific like garbage right now, while he's spending this whole time trying to gaslight everyone into thinking he's the best basketball player of all time. I believe in those last 4 games, the Lakers are almost like negative 80 when he's on the court.
They are bad right now.
And essentially what's happening here is that, LeBron James has completely and utterly given up on playing any defense whatsoever. Like, if you see him on the court where he does not have the ball, he's not even remotely trying to play defense on the ball. What he's doing is that he's trying to pick his spots to pad up his offensive stats so that his boys over at ESPN and Fox Sports can spend 3 hours of the next day after his game talking about, oh my God, LeBron scored 20 points. No one has done this at the age of 40. He's the greatest of all time. He's better than Michael Jordan. It's like, when did he pass Kobe? Like, when he goes straight to Michael Jordan, did he ever pass Kobe if they're being better than him at any point in his entire? No. Okay, that's
individually no, and like as a team statistic, no. Kobe's teams have always been better.
Yeah. So, but this is like the big thing that's going on right now. So it's like, I don't know. It's very, very funny to me how or we're watching kind of like a falling of an empire. Because if you guys saw the video not that long ago, he was at the Rams game on Sunday against the Eagles, and basically all the fans were trolling him, talking about, we know you were at those Diddy parties and all that other stuff. So it's like, now everyone knows he can't keep it in the bottle anymore like he was trying to do for all this time. So he's in a very, very bad spot at the moment.
What was his response? Did he just go on Twitter and whine? Like, genuinely, I feel like...
Oh, no, did you forget that part of the story, too? He left Twitter because, I don't know if you guys know this as well, but his son...
I don't know anything about it outside of his sports failures. Because if you don't talk about it on Barroom, I don't know.
So here's the thing. LeBron, if you guys remember earlier this year, got his son drafted to the NBA to play for the Lakers, right? And his son has about as much basketball talent as Nerdigans. And I would say that Nerdigans is probably better on defense than LeBron James' son. So he's currently in the G League right now, stinking up the joint. And everyone is giving him heat now because he's clearly not good enough to play the game of basketball and shouldn't be in the league at all. And everyone knows that he's there for the sole reason that, his son, his dad is LeBron James.
Oh, yeah. No, everybody. Like, even... I saw like even diehard Lakers fans when that happened, they were like, this is sad, man. Like, this is embarrassing for all of us. Like, we should feel bad about this.
Here's the other thing. Like, there's a lot of, Lakers fans that I've talked to who's basically like, I'm not following this team anymore until he's gone. Like, that's how much they don't like LeBron James. It's like, they pretty much have temporarily suspended their Laker fandom.
Dude, he makes me suspend my NBA fandom. Like, I like watching the game, and I follow the Bulls or whatever, but anytime it's like they're going up against LeBron and the Lakers, I just like tune out because I just don't care. It's weird. I have that feeling where like of all the sports leagues, I'm of the opinion that probably the least rigged is the NBA, except until you get to like the very end, because it always, and what I mean by that is like it is rigged to the extent where like the same 8 teams are always going to make it, but it always feels like the lower teams who aren't going to do it, that always feels like good competitive games. Like, they know that they're not going, but it never feels that way no matter who LeBron plays. It always feels like it's just staged.
Well, the problem with the NBA too, that's another big story, is that apparently their ratings, from what I hear, it's only ESPN more so than it is TNT, but their ratings are down almost like 25% from where they were this time a year ago, which means that people are just completely foregoing watching basketball on ESPN at the moment.
Yeah.
And it's two things. One, the game is just not good. Like, well, we're at a point now where it's basically, you know, all these guys are chucking up 3-pointers because of Steph Curry, and we're still trying to do the whole Steph Curry thing from 10 years ago. So people are just shooting jump shots. No defense is actually being played. No defense is actually being called. So I think like last night, if I'm not mistaken, somebody gave up like 145 points to the New York Knicks. The game didn't even go into overtime. They just gave up 145 points. It gets to a point where it's like, dude, this is not even good basketball to watch. Like to watch this is not good. Not to mention, like I said, you have to deal with, you know, the Steph Currys and the LeBron Jameses and the Kevin Durants, and we're at the point now where people really don't like those guys. But at the same time, they refuse to promote the other guys who are actually good, like Luka Doncic and Nikola Jokic, because they're international players. They're international white guys, right? Exactly, right? So
can't give him MVP because he's a white guy.
Yep. And then they're already upset because like his numbers are like absolutely insane already this season. Like he's averaging like 30, 13, and 13 right now. It's ridiculous. Like if he had a couple more championships on his record, or if he can get a few more championships on his record, he can be up there with like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. It's like the greatest center of all time. Like he's putting the numbers he's putting up.
If
are
they'll ever
insane.
recognize him, I feel like they would do the exact same thing they did last time, where it's like, oh, he has all the points, but technically, and they'll like make some weird thing where it's like, oh, but he was, you know, we changed shoelace standards in 2018, so it doesn't technically count. Like it'll be some bullshit like that. Like it always is with him.
They always got to find some kind of way to get around it. And that's essentially where they are. Then they wonder why, you know, no one's really, you know, following the sport right now. It's their own fault. So.
I also saw this thing, speaking of the like NBA ratings and ESPN ratings, apparently like there was, and you'll probably know exactly what I'm talking about because I wish I remembered more details offhand, but it's like Disney, I think, had like the ESPN deal and they thought they were going to get like the NBA, but then TNT had a deal for the NBA. So they got in this big lawsuit, and now they ended the lawsuit by saying, okay, fine, both of you can broadcast NBA games. And I'm just like, all right, nobody like that's
so
like divide your.
From what I've heard,
group.
TNT is basically still going to lose the NBA. So, and I said this is part of kind of a bigger story we've been talking about here for a while. This whole thing going on with Warner Bros. Discovery, they are extremely broke and they're not willing to spend money for anything at the moment. So they ended up losing their deal to the NBA for like. I think it was NBC, Disney, and Amazon Prime all basically got pieces of the whole deal now. So that was like something like $10-something billion deal that went up in flames here. So the value of Warner has gone down significantly because of that. They're already losing a crap ton of money when it comes to like, you know, movies and things of that nature. And there's just a whole bunch of other things that are happening here that just is really, really bad. And I think that for Warner, they're at a point where they're trying to cut as much cost as they possibly can with like what $45 billion or some insane amount that they're trying to do, and it's ridiculous.
Well, they're trying to do the thing again. This is why if you remember, like I think I brought it up like last week or 2 weeks ago. This is why they're doing that thing. Like they've talked about it. They want to just bundle all of the debt and bad stuff into a new entity again. Mm-hmm. And then say like, look, we're Warner.
Corporate reshuffling.
Did that the first time. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, because on one hand you have, well, here's the thing, like Warner Brothers is trying to just sell off assets now. This is why they're talking about selling off possibly DC Comics, getting rid of that altogether. They've been talking about getting rid of the Warner Brothers studio. A lot of the properties that they currently hold, they're trying to ship away. Paramount's pretty much in the exact same position that they are. They even talk about trying to buy out each other. And then, as we heard over the last couple of days, NBC Universal is now trying to come up with this new cable offshoot with all of their networks. And it's like, well, who actually like watches any of those networks anymore? Like, when's the last time I'm gonna be honest with you, when's the last time you actually sat down and watched E or Bravo or like, you know?
I genuinely get surprised when I realize, or when I get reminded that they still exist, right? Like, like Ian Bravo, because to your point, nobody does. Absolutely. Like when I'm writing a story and it's like, oh, Anthony Mackie said something. Let me go find out who he was talking. He was talking to E? E? And I'm just like, all right, you guys still exist, sure, for 2 more months.
Well, not only that, you have to think about it from this perspective too. It's like E is a perfect example. E was only a relevant network like 30 years ago when they were showing like reruns of Howard Stern and like Wild On, right? And ever since then, they never actually progressed to anything more than just that. And it's the direction of cable. I've mentioned this a couple times, but I keep going back to it. Like, go back to 2002, we had this digital cable explosion where all of a sudden we had like 1,000 channels that you can watch, and everyone was all caught up in the aura of, oh my God, there's 1,000 channels now. I'll never run out of things to watch. So like that's when you had G4 and Tech TV and Noggin and all these other cable channels that you all remember from back in the day. What was it, the Nickelodeon Gas and stuff like that. And then after a couple of years,
Nickelodeon had like 7 channels. Now that I think about it, it was actually kind of impressive. I didn't really consider it back in the day, but like Nick at Night, Nickelodeon, that
Nick
was
Jr., Nick Jr. Jr. and all that.
Yeah, I remember Nick Jr. Jr. and that made me so mad when they announced that. I was like, no, just give it a different name.
And then like, what was it? It went from Noggin to the End to Teen Nick and like all this other stuff. But after a while,
did you see the link, Nerdigans?
Oh yeah, I see it. And they also had Nicktoons as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where all like the main ship shows went to die.
Yeah, but after a while, people realize that, okay, well, I mean, you actually don't have that much content, because to create a cable channel, you have to invest a butt ton of money to actually produce content for said channel. And after a while, nobody wanted to invest that kind of money that wasn't outside of the core. So if it wasn't like an ESPN or at the time an MTV or something like that, they didn't want to invest a whole bunch of money on like MTV2 or MTV Hits or MTV Jam and all that other stuff. So it's like, we'll just put in our old stuff on these networks and then we'll just stop caring. And then after a while, it's like, okay, well, there's no reason for us to have cable anymore, so that's why most of those networks completely went under. Like, that's essentially what
we're
killed.
Going right back to it. Now we're going right back to it.
That's basically what killed G4 the first time. I mean, people forget G4 was a network that started in 2002, about 2 years after they ended up buying Tech TV, and there was like a short-lived G4 Tech TV union that lasted about 8 months until they fired everyone from Tech TV and shut down that whole studio. So then for like the next like 5 years, it was basically, okay, we're going to do Attack of the Show, X-Play, and a crap ton of Cheaters reruns for 5 years. And then they wonder why no one actually like wanted to watch it, and it went under. It's like, well, there you go.
I love Cheaters reruns. I'm not even going to lie.
I mean,
come home in college and...
Well, there's the Cheaters channel on Pluto TV, so you can watch Cheaters like all you want 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
I saw an ad on my... Unfortunately, I have a smart TV that I got as a gift, and they sent me an ad for Pluto, and it was like, stream everything you want and pay nothing. And I was just like, that's a brilliant, very simple marketing like strategy. Just say that. And yes, guys, if you guys maybe moved away from the window while Jacob and I and Nerdigans were talking about Fail Braun or LaFraud, however you want to explain it. We are starting our game of Cards Against Humanity. I think we did one play already. Cider is currently the judge, and we are playing.
I'm not the judge.
Oh, you're not the judge. Well, you were the judge a second ago.
That would be Nerdigans.
Oh, I'm the judge now? Okay.
Mm-hmm. That means you have to read the card.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Too late. Now, if you click B and C, that'll show you other ones.
It won't let me see it. I'm clicking B and C. It won't let me see it.
Oh, well. I guess a Super Soaker full of cat pee is going to win.
Yourself.
Ah, fuck.
Well, Super Soaker full of pee. The dragon was not evil. He just wanted... Nerdigans won with her own
somehow.
All right. Maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's blank.
Let's see.
Oh, this should be a good one. You guys, I believe in you guys for this one. I don't believe in my own window to tell me where the chat went.
Chat went. Oh.
Chat went.
Everyone wants Goslin.
Everyone's Gosling. Well, yeah. So I picked it.
Here we go.
All right. Maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's more elephant cock than I bargained for. Maybe it's Boris the Soviet love hammer. Or maybe it's a windmill full of corpses. Oh, that's unfortunate. She's like the Black
Yeah.
Death then. You know what I'm going for.
That's a victory for me.
Jacob with the elephant win.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see which one I'm gonna do. I will do this one. My fellow Americans, it's my turn. All right, my fellow Americans, before this decade is out, we will have blank on the moon.
Oh man. Oh wait, no. I don't
Oh,
want that.
okay.
Good.
If this one doesn't win, this game is rigged.
Oh no! I had a good one. Dang.
Oh no! Fail.
So we got these hoes,
Oh, I didn't. click
several
it in
Michael
time.
Keatons, and our baby. I had to go
course
with
you gotta do
Jacob. I had to go with
These hoes. Before
That's
the
a
decade
winning
is out.
presidential campaign right there.
A campaign platform.
Mhm.
Way more.
I'm
than,
sitting these hosts to the
Mullen.
moon.
I mean, how does that not win?
Let's see. Believe it or not, Jim Carrey can do
I'll
a dead
read it.
end. Oh, I didn't realize whose turn it was.
You already read it though.
There we go. Let's see.
This one might be a throwaway.
Oh no. Believe it or not, Jim Carrey can do a dead-on impression of penis breath. Believe it or not, Jim Carrey can do a dead-on impression of being a woman. Believe it or not, Jim Carrey can do a dead-on impression of the bond between a woman and her horse, and I vote for that one.
I 100% would have voted for that one.
I'm just
I got
killing
that
it here already.
Yeah, right?
Ooh, okay, let's.
Hey, it's me in HD. Happy Colonizers Day. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Hey,
Aren't you down in
As
Australia? What do you do
reparations
for
for
the holiday.
here's what I'm doing. As reparations for slavery, all African Americans will receive.
Oh, hell yeah.
So racial profiling or a hug. I have to go with racial profiling.
Yeah!
That I mean, like, hello.
Yellow black race war keeps going. All right.
Judge Spencer.
Action card. Press down, down, left, right, B to unleash blank. There's a store? I can do microtransactions on this thing? Good lord.
Absolutely. There's a microtransaction for microtransaction.
Press the code to unleash the only gay person in 100 miles. Seeing grandma naked. Getting killed and dragged up a tree by a leopard. I feel like I have to go with this one. It feels like it's what an actual cheat code would do.
It'd just be the most horrific thing you've ever seen in your entire life.
It teaches the players don't cheat.
You're welcome.
All right, so during
Oh,
sex, I
no.
like to think about.
Oh man, I'm doing this one. I'm gonna get in trouble from everybody. But okay, because this is Nerdigans doing this one. This is
Oh God.
Jacob Insider will definitely get it. I hope the viewers get it right away too. Nerdigans, I'm sorry, I love you.
All right, spending lots of money, shapeshifters. That's so stupid. That's just the obvious one.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
I want to
Uh-oh.
be funny. I'm gonna be
Uh-oh.
funny and do shapeshifters.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
There you go.
yes, a completely earn win.
I'm texting Bibby. I'm saying, guess what happened?
I like thinking out of the box with this kind of stuff. Oh.
Get rid of your cards. Wrestling fans understand. I'm sorry. I love you. Isn't that basically what everybody's getting mad at? Jacob, you know who it is. Isn't it The Undertaker? Somebody went on and did like an interview yesterday.
Oh yeah, Undertaker and Kane went on Fox News yesterday. One of them, I think it was like Gunfield show.
Yeah,
and
it's one of them. And,
And
he's
then, like I
"Oh,
said, for those who don't
Batista,
know,
right? Yeah.
yeah, wrestling fans are extremely liberal and whiny and complaining.
Here we go. Madam President, the
Oh, no.
asteroid is headed directly for Earth, and there's one thing that can stop it.
Let's just say my selection, we know they are equipped with some strong weaponry. We've seen it.
Brace yourselves. Feminism. Okay, Madam President, the asteroid is headed directly toward Earth. The only thing that can stop it is feminism. The only thing that can stop the asteroid is moon people. The only thing that can the only thing that can stop it is the Jews. Well, I've learned.
Yes!
I've learned. Don't question
They've got
it.
their son.
Get Nerdigans on the phone right now.
I don't want to get Kanye'd.
They'll get their Sonic Adventure laser on us.
Oh no!
Yes, Sakura. Currently, Jacob is in the lead. Is this my? Oh no, this is somebody else's.
Okay, this is you scrubs now. Little Miss Buffet sat on so Little Miss Muffet sat on a tuffet eating her curds and blank.
Oh, this one's gross.
Yeah,
this should
mine's
be
pretty
great.
sick, nasty too.
Little Miss Muffet sat on a tuffet eating her curds and meth,
That has to come from cider. That's just a hometown
eating her
one.
curds and mouth herpes, and eating her curds in a slam dunk. Well,
And slamming a dunk.
slamming a dunk. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and go with meth.
I still like the feminism dig on the one cider got because I feel like that would have been either like Hillary or Kamala's actual platform. Would have just
Yeah.
been like, we gotta save the planet, feminism. Oh hell yeah! When I am a billionaire, I shall erect a 50-foot statue to commemorate. Blank. Leslie, thanks. I know you are busy with your holiday prep. Thanks for hanging out with us for a little bit. Have a great holiday. Enjoy some food. I know you're probably having your family over, so enjoy. All right. When I am a billionaire, I shall erect a 50-foot statue to demolishing that ass like a Palestinian village. I will erect a 50-foot statue to commemorate some guy or the Force. I might have picked the Force if this was like 20 years ago, but now we're definitely going for this.
Oh yeah.
All right, it's that kind
we
of
can
game.
get Nerdigans people on sculpting it.
Look, we all leveled up. I did.
Jacob with 5.
Yep.
We're rematching. Run it
I was
back.
say, should we add a little bit more time in between there, or are we good with what we have now?
I'm good with firing. I don't even know if you can extend it.
Deciding
just
time.
the side
Wanna
time
go up
just
to
a little
30
bit.
seconds.
Oh, look at that.
Or the
We'll bump
thinking
that
time
up to
just a
30
little bit.
seconds. Yeah. You got it?
Yeah.
Picking time. Picking time up to like 20 seconds.
Sakuramita 01 is the same. I was just saying goodbye to Leslie because she said good night and happy Thanksgiving. So I was just saying bye to her. We're still hanging out for a while. We're still playing. Maybe we'll talk some more stuff. Who knows? If there's anything you guys want to talk about while we're playing, drop it in the chat. We're happy. We can multitask.
I mean, what else we were going to talk about? Another test screening before.
Well,
It's so funny.
Well, there's
man.
the whole mouth washing situation too.
Hold on a second.
Ooh, action card coming in. No, like
In the
yeah.
1950s, psychologists prescribed blank as a cure for homosexuality.
Mine might actually be accurate.
Somebody's going to choose a hate crime. My good bra. In the 1950s, psychologists prescribed my good bra as a cure for homosexuality. In the 1950s, psychologists prescribed blank as a cure for homosexuality. Having sex with a beautiful person. That'll do it.
Knew it! I've told you that's got to be
Wait, hold on.
Whoa!
Yeah,
I was going to say, somehow this thing.
We'll go back.
Can we go back?
We'll invite you again. Hold on.
We're leaving match. Leave match. Oh, right. Yeah, because he's not in there.
Right.
Okay, while we set that up, I
There it
know
is.
that Sakura brought up the Mortal Kombat situation. So, is there a link for me to?
I think it's that ID one. Hold on a second.
Oh, the same one. Oh, there we
Should
go.
be 1870.
Yeah, Cider just shot it over. So Sakura Amida brought this up earlier during Tokyo Happy
There we go.
Hour. For those of you who didn't see, the current rumor is that Warner Brothers Games is discontinuing all their plans for DLC for Mortal Kombat 1 because the
They're
last
broke.
pack that's why their last expansion pack apparently did not sell. And it's kind of this isn't rumor territory, but it does very much sound like it is something that is probably going to happen, because if you guys checked out any of the feedback to that new expansion pass, what you got was it gave you 6 new fighters, Noob Saibot, the gender swapped Cyrax and Sector, the Conan the Barbarian, the T-1000, and Ghostface for some reason, because screw you, Ghostface. And so you got those guys, like 5 stages and 4 new story chapters that tell like a side story. All of that is about a third of the content you get from Mortal Kombat 1, the main game. So the base Mortal Kombat 1 cost you $70. This single expansion, $50 alone for like less than a third of the content. So you have a really bad deal, and you have the ideology being injected with gender swapping and race swapping Cyrax and Sector. And is it really any?
Wait, are you
surprise
telling
that
me this
anybody
lost money?
tuned out? What? No way. So it's another example of how bad Warner Brothers has been this year. Remember, that's the same. We got Suicide Squad earlier this year. This is still Suicide Squad year.
I mean, this is just, I mean, look, at this point, Warner Brothers, like their entire financial outlook looks like Sonic as he jumps on the spike. That's pretty much like where they're at here financially. And then they're just like, then it's they're just making one terrible decision after another. It's like they're trying to right the ship as far as like the movies go, and even that's not working, because I don't know how many people are actually truly buying in to this James Gunn universe that they're doing as far as like the DC movie goes. And then on top of that, they've also had a couple of other financial flops with films, so it's like it's not looking good for them on that aspect. The whole networks are falling upon themselves. They just lost the NBA. Oh, by the way, NetherRealm also not doing great. Like, is there any way we can give this back to Midway? Can we resurrect Midway from the dead?
Seriously.
And get them to start doing games again? Because whatever you guys have been doing over the last few years is absolute dog water.
For those who haven't kept appraised of the Mortal Kombat series in the last, let's say, like 10 years since it got rebooted, every single game. So they rebooted it with Mortal Kombat 9. They said, we're retelling it all. We're starting from zero. And it was like, cool, let's do this. Every game after that has been, let's reset the timeline again by traveling through the multiverse. I'm not even joking. Mortal Kombat 10 was that. Mortal Kombat 11 was that. And Mortal Kombat
It's like,
1
how many times you're going to reset the timeline? Like, didn't we do this already like 4 games ago?
Like, how many times are you going to reset the timeline? And do you not realize that everybody's tired of this stuff? Like, nobody... I hear multiverse and I just kind of want to like scream. It's not fun anymore.
Well, that and they're amplifying their characters too. People are not happy about that. I think people would be more forgiving if the characters were still sexy and not beaten with an ugly stick.
And I told you, all of this has been a complete overcorrection from Mortal Kombat 9. That was the last one in the PS3 era, right? And ever since then, they'd be like, because certain people were complaining about, sexism in gaming. I wonder who that was around that time period, right? But ever since then, it's like, we need to tone down the attractiveness of all the female characters, but we're still going to have a bunch of, shirtless hunks on the other side of things. But no, what's her name? Tanya is going to look like Felicia from Friday moving forward now. Because
that one is the weirdest one to me, because she looks exactly like her. It's so weird. It's not just like generic ugly and Jacob and I are making a comparison. It's like, that's her.
That's how people who do not, who do not cater to the 18 and the 39, the 13, 34 male demographic do not, or any creative change when it comes to that company. Because you think to yourself, if somebody like us was in that company and we saw that design, we would have been like, is this a joke? Like, is this can we get the real one? Like, guys, this is a professional unit here. We don't have time for these gags. Can you show us the real Tanya, please?
That's the same joke I was going to do. Like, guys, we're at work here. Come on. It's funny, but we got work to do.
But somebody looked at that design. It was like, oh yeah, brilliant. Let's put that on the DLC. People are going to pay extra money for this.
Everybody's going to love this. Sakura Mita brings up, people are comparing Mortal Kombat to Dragon Age Veilguard. I don't know why they MCU'd the franchise. They MCU'd it for the exact reasons Jacob was saying. When Mortal Kombat 9 came out, it was a great game. Everybody loved it. Everybody was like, Mortal Kombat is back. But it also brought it to a new generation of players. Because I think like the last one before that was on the PS2. So it had been a while since we had a Mortal Kombat. So everybody got in on it. And like Jacob said, that was like not even 16, right? Like that was like 2010, like 2011. So we're on,
Mortal Kombat 9, I think came out 2009, if I'm not mistaken, or 2010, somewhere around that time period.
It's got to be. It's right there. I don't remember the exact year, but like that was when this stuff started. This is when you started seeing all of the
feminists come on out. Back it. And this was around the same time that Bayonetta came out too, because Bayonetta came out in early 2009. And I think Mortal Kombat 9 came out later that year.
Or like the year after, just really close. It doesn't matter exactly when. It's like very close. So we know what we're all saying.
Yeah, but this is like when the feminists really were starting to come, the new age feminists were starting to come out and attack female characters for being too sexy. But
I think it was this one here that they objected to, because they were I remember this is the one that caused so much ire at that time period. But if you're wondering like what's going on with like the character designs and the costume choices since this game, like I said, this game was like 2009 or 2010. This is the game that they've been overcorrecting ever since. Because, like I said, certain people in the gaming community cried about sexism and cried about misogyny and all this other stuff. And a whole bunch of, let's just say, Comic-Con people took over NetherRealm Studios and then decided, no, we're going to fix this. We're going to correct this. We're going to do this more for a modern audience, quote unquote. And then, the ones we've gotten for the last several years after the fact, it's like, what's the argument here?
It's like Nerdigan said, they all look like they got not just like beat with the ugly stick, but like a grand like larceny assault like beat with a stick.
It looks like somebody like hit the ugly car. I don't know like what you want to call it here, but the whole thing is just bad. And here's like the counter argument to this. It's like, oh well, now we're doing it in a more realistic sense. It's like, do you guys just completely forgot? Did you guys just completely forget that this is an ultra violent video game where you literally rip somebody's heart out and stuff it back down their throat and then watch it beat as they're choking on it?
That's my favorite bit about all the Mortal Kombat stuff. Is like, oh, Melina showing cleavage, that's gross, disgusting. People are going to learn bad habits. Think of the kids. And then literally like the next clip. Kids. Then the next clip in that whatever we're looking at is like the X-ray move where like Sub-Zero cracks their sternum and they like cough blood out of their mouth and you see inside of them. And it's like, you guys are just complaining to complain. That's what a lot of the reason changes you see to like female characters and stuff is that it's people thinking they're doing something when in reality they're just going for the easy thing.
At this point, the Bug Lady is more attractive than the characters that they're putting on the video games now. That's a sad state of affairs. But on top of all this, you still have to look at it from the perspective of what is it, the NetherRealm Studio, those chuckle. There's a whole bunch of words I can say that I can't say on YouTube, but with their idea and their thought process with this franchise, the constant rebooting of the franchise, restarting of the franchise. So it's like, how many versions of like Liu Kang have we had like over the last like several years? Because we went from kind of like zombie Liu Kang, he's dead, to okay, he's alive again because we rebooted the timeline, to okay, he's dead again because Snell killed him, and it's like, okay, now he's alive, but he's kind of like a thunder god, and now he's kind of like a fire god. Now he's like the new Raiden, and then you go back to it's like, so how many times like no one can even keep up with like what timeline they're on anymore objectively as a fan, and that's another thing that's causing so much confusion, because it's like what is like try to explain the modern Mortal Kombat timeline right now in less than 2 minutes. You can't.
You genuinely can't. Now you also have to pull up like a wiki. Like Jacob said, even if you are a fan, there's no way you remember what version, because they reset timelines and then they like go back to timelines, and it's like, oh well, I have this version of Liu Kang and I have this version of Johnny, and it's like, who are you people anymore? I don't know.
Not to mention, if you guys recall, they did a Mortal Kombat movie not too long ago. I think they're doing a part 2 supposed to come out like next year. Yeah, but they did a movie, And it was either the writer or the director came out and literally said that the reason why Johnny Cage is not in the movie is because they wanted a more diverse representation. People didn't just want to go see like a white guy like in movies. Like Johnny Cage is one of the original 8 characters of the entire franchise. Like that is not the hill you want to die on to be like,
Right.
well, you know, there's too many white guys in this game, so we just completely moved him out and created a new character. It's like, no, you idiot.
It's just it is from the top down just a bunch of dumb stuff. Like there's, again, until we see the big cultural shift, which we aren't there yet. We're gonna keep getting this. We're gonna keep getting really bad Mortal Kombat entries that focus more on, look at how we covered them up so tastefully instead of actually being a good game.
So somebody correct me here because I'm not sure. Does anyone have any figures of how Tekken 8 is selling at the moment? The recent one. Does anyone have any?
Not
figures
off the top of my head. I have no idea.
Because I would love to see like the sales trajectory of that game versus what Mortal Kombat has been.
Tekken 8, I know, I know Tekken 8 is selling way better than Mortal Kombat is. I could tell you that.
It's gotta. Because there was also, I don't know, or actually, you go, Nerdigans. You've been trying to say something. I don't want to jump onto that point. What were you trying to say?
Oh, well, what I was going to say is, and I kind of talked about it during Tokyo Happy Hour, is it's so weird that Mortal Kombat was the one that, you know, launched the ESRB because it was that violent. And look how far it has fallen. It started from being like against the establishment and pushing against the grain to like being a part of the grain. It's so frustrating.
That's what Jacob brings up all the time, right? Is like Mortal Kombat, we literally got it. And like you're saying, we got the ESRB because people crapped their pants about Mortal Kombat and took it to court. And everybody was like, no, we got to defend this. And that's, at the time, NetherRealm was like, you're all being babies. But now they're like, oh no, we got to give the babies what they want. Nowadays, we should listen to them. And it's basically like seeing like an artist you used to like sell out really hard.
And basically, so like Ed Boon, essentially.
Yeah.
Oh no, Ed Boon definitely is the sellout there. They needed John Tobias to stick around. Okay, so I have one story that's related to this, and then we'll jump back to Cards Against Humanity. But because we brought up the past and where all this stuff originated from, this is how I always know when it like went into full force. So it went into full force in 2015 because at the time in 2015, I was working at my university, the University of California, Irvine. I was one of the student event like liaisons, like the head of that department or whatever. And this, you know, the woe, you know, America's bad rhetoric that was starting to come up. And one day near the end of my time there, the student council, who they don't really have any authority, they're just the damn student council. They come up to me specifically because I'm the head of the department. And they're like, hey, we just had a vote. Can you take down the American flags that are hanging in all the student lounges? We feel that this makes, you know, international students feel unsafe. And I just looked at them and I was like, no, I'm not. No. And it became this huge kerfuffle because they're like, we voted for it. We said it. And I'm like, you don't have authority over me. You're a student council. Go get the chancellor and then I will do something. And they like took their complaints to like my boss. Even my boss was like, what do you want? No.
They basically say, get away from me, nerd.
That's basically what happened. And I was, like, that was the hill I was dying on, like at the end of that job. I'm like, it is not happening. You guys are insane. And then unfortunately, look at where we are now.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like everything kind of transitioned for the worse, especially at that specific year. Yeah.
Which is like it was starting, and then like Trump sent it into like maximum overdrive. Not because of anything he did, just his presence sent everybody on that side insane. It's
like it activated everyone's like arc reactor, and everyone just like went insane as a result.
Speaking of insane,
they were like winter soldiers. But insanity. Let's get back to our game, or unless you had something else that you were bringing up.
Oh no, we'll read this story because this is goes into what we were talking about here.
So which one of you guys actually know what this story is? I didn't get a chance to check this one out yet.
It's the headline. It's the headline. James Gunn admitted in an interview that he doesn't have a script for part 2 of The Batman nor Brave and the Bold. So as usual, we're going to promise things like Ryan Johnson's trilogy.
No, I mean, you see that a lot out of James Gunn, and what's really making me angry about this situation more so than we already were, and it's like finally boiling from like annoyance to like frustration, anger, is he keeps reversing course on Peacemaker, and then he acts like he never said the things he said before. So like for those of you who don't know, when Peacemaker came out sort of like a month before they canned the DCEU and said we're guns coming in for DC Studios. So everybody for the longest time was like, what are you going to do? We know a season 2 is coming. Is this canon? Is it not? So James Gunn came out at one point early on and said, none of this is canon. Like, no, don't worry about it. He said, like parts of it will be canon. Then he came out and he said, none of it's canon. Then he just came out and said, oh, all of it is canon, except for that one scene with the Justice League. And anytime anybody is like, but that's not what you said, he goes like, I've never said anything. He plays word games. He's like, I never said anything definitively to one side. And it's like, okay, you didn't make a press release, but you damn well said this isn't canon. That is canon. Like, we have the receipts. I don't know who you're trying to fool. So between that, yeah, like Jacob said, it's a lot or like Cider said, it's promising things that we might not ever see. And also just on the note of Brave and the Bold, that's the movie. So that movie is being helmed by Andy Muschietti, the guy who did The Flash. And it's like, we saw what that man can do with Batman. We saw how he treats Batman in The Flash. I don't want more of that Batman. Right? Like he was the one who put in that stupid joke where Batman's accidentally touching Wonder Woman's lasso. And he's like, oh, I dress up as a bat because I'm insecure and I need love or whatever. And it's like, this isn't a funny joke. This might have been funny in 1972 for like a second and not anymore.
So again, I'm
It's
still
also-
trying to figure out like how James Gunn is qualified to be running a studio. Like that part I've still never received after 2 years since this whole thing has gone down. But it's
it is by virtue of the fact that he has made the only 2 like superhero movies that did not completely bomb. You know, Guardians 3 and Suicide Squad. That one's a weird one. I get it, but yeah, that's why they're like, oh, somebody knows what he's doing, even if he only knows what he's doing about 70% of the time. It's better than Feige, who knows it 0% of the time.
Yeah, because I mean, we'll talk about that in a second as well. That's a whole dumpster fire on top of a dumpster fire. But yeah, with this whole story, I'm just kind of like sitting here like thinking to myself, it doesn't sound like his thing is really going any better than all the other ones, except for he's not getting as much negative attention as a lot of the other creators are. Then again, to be fair, I gotta be honest, like there really hasn't been as much negative attention around the Captain America disaster right now as there should be. So I feel like there's a lot of pulling of punches that is happening in the media regarding to a lot of these film projects that you're seeing here, because maybe part of it is they just don't want to, lose access to, certain films and certain studios, so they don't want to bring it up publicly. Or maybe it's because they're playing, certain people with kids' gloves based on previous stances that they've had, maybe with James Gunn. But yeah, so what exactly are we supposed to be excited about the future of DC? Because, okay, I get it now. The Zack Snyder universe is dead. Yeah, right?
Yeah,
the Zack Snyder universe is dead. All those people are gone. No more Gal Gadot, no more Momoa, no more, Ben. Okay, fine. They're all gone. Like, so what's next? And it's like you're just rebooting Superman. So we're just supposed to get excited for another Superman edition here. We have what's his face, Twilight dude, for being Batman at the moment. Even though he's not technically Batman, he's kind of like a offshoot Batman from another universe. It isn't the main universe, so it's like who really knows what's going on with that one. And I think like your biggest draw right now is Colin Farrell playing the Penguin from that same weirdo universe that's not really the main universe. So it's like, what are we doing here? By the way, the only good thing you had was Joker, and you pissed all over that. So it's just like it says, like what is anyone doing right now in Warner Brothers?
Just real quick, let's just drop the game. We're gonna talk. We got a topic. Yeah, we got a topic. We're rolling. Let's just drop the game.
I was ready to go back after this.
I don't want your guys' bandwidth to go to wear down here. So and it's
I've
bothering
got
me
a
having
bandwidth.
the boop 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 noise. It's reminding me of the game's waiting.
No.
So this is a good topic though, because I wanted to point out this thing right here, right? So we're gonna have 1.5 billion Batmen soon. Okay, similar to the Tobey Maguire, nice Garfield man that people like, and Tom Hollish or whatever his name is. The problem we have is we now have three living Batmen that have been on screen together. No, two living Batmen that have been on screen together. One that has not. So we have three living Batmen right now that have been in movies within the past decade that have them as the Caped Crusader. Okay, not
So that would be Affleck, Clooney, and Twilight, right?
Keaton.
Keaton, that's right. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess Clooney only
'Cause-
showed up as Bruce Wayne. That doesn't count.
Because the thing about the Batman series is that it is divorced from like superheroism. It's really bare bones, like more than Nolan's bare bones. Like he's running around in the Punisher's car, and it's not even a Batmobile. But we've got, and he's got like a ratchet set on his chest, one of those wire stripper things on his chest for a batarang. It's very annoying. It's like he's cracking those nutcracker knuckle things. You know, he's got the nutcracker.
It just always seems like it would take so long to put on.
Right. Just very inconvenient. But anyway, so you've got all these Batmen running around, all right? So you got five technically, you know, with all of them together, you got five. And then you've added then you're adding in like these Gotham setting where people are going to expect a Batman to show up eventually because everybody's an adult, you know. The Bruce Wayne's out there somewhere.
Right.
You know. So you got to do something with him. But the I think the biggest crime with Penguin, and I can't get anybody to agree with me on this, it's all right if nobody here does, is that if you just didn't put it in the Batman universe, any DC universe, it would have been just fine as a standalone mobster show about a guy that came up hard, became hard, and didn't want to stay hard. You know, it didn't need the accoutrement of Gotham City and Gotham's goofballs in order to make it sell. It has barely anything to do with anything Batman. But everyone's like, no, it has to be Penguin. It's gotta be Penguin.
But like even that goes to your point, right, Cider? It's like of all the Bat villains, Penguin is the most genericable. Like that's the easiest one to turn into a generic because he's just at his core, he doesn't have powers. He doesn't have anything. He's just an awkward looking fat dude who runs crime. So I'm actually on your side. I think that the show, I think it suffers from being connected to Batman and all that because you go, I know like a lot of people who watch the show where, you know, you spend your time going, where's Batman? Where's Batman? Like, why isn't Batman showing up to stop him? And then, you know, what's his name? Matt Reeves actually did an interview where he addressed that because they're like, where's Batman? Why didn't he come to stop Penguin? And then he was like, well, right now Batman's sort of going through it after the Riddler thing and he's still trying to find himself. And I'm like,
we got it.
That's so lame. Yeah, exactly. Like we've got it. Like that's lame. We don't.
Yeah, HD comes like right off the top rope with the slam dunk here. It says the Penguin was basically a Tony Soprano origin ripoff.
I mean, I'm not going to say no, but I'm also not going to say that that's bad.
No, it's not bad because we need Sopranos. We haven't had something like a Sopranos in like so long,
No
like
way.
a good old fashioned mob story.
So just take them. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Cider. No, I was just going to ask you. Go.
Nerdigans was going.
Yeah. We need something like that. We haven't had something like that in so long because before that, obviously, it was The Godfather, and then we had The Sopranos, and then what do we have now in terms of like an old school? Obviously, we had Goodfellas and stuff too. I forgot, but yeah, we haven't had like a good old fashioned mob show in a really long time.
That's why Penguin. Right, that's why Penguin hits so well with people and why they like it. It really is a shitty Batman show. It has nothing to do with Batman, but it is it's an excellent organized crime show. And
that's like the exact same opinion I have about The Dark Knight. Like I think it's a terrible Batman movie. It's awful, but as a generic spy thriller, damn good.
If you took the cape off of Batman, you would have a hard time convincing me that was not like some experimental police operation where they had selected a rogue cop to use experimental police equipment to hunt down a extreme terrorist group that was taking on the likeness of clowns.
And see, like even that narrative works more because now the whole scene where he like runs over cops in the tumbler makes sense.
Yeah, but it's a tank, you know. Why it has tank shells on it shoots tank shells. Why the bike has the 50 cals on the front of it. just ridiculous armaments. I don't kill, duck. You know,
Slam. Yeah,
I
it's
don't
like
kill
I'm
unless you
pretty
don't
sure kill.
dodge. You know,
It's on you.
it's your fault, Joker. You know, but that's what it is that like the Dark Knight, Nolan's movies kind of broke the spell of Batman being a spiritual avenger, kind of the darkness that he was man and myth combined. Then Nolan said, no, he's man and machine. You see, that's what the mystery is the machine. I think that's how Nolan laughs. But anyway, yeah, and like his tongue has a Charlie horse. But anyway, the thing about this is that it's only going to continue to erode because we got the closest we got to like fictional Batman was Ben Affleck's 280-pound, 6'4" Batman floating like a butterfly onto the top of Gotham PD in that scene where he arrives to
I know
he just
exactly.
floats down, and I'm like,
about.
yep, this is fictional Batman for fucking sure. just a meat tank, just tap. There's no thud, you know.
Yeah, or not even a thud, like cracking right through the roof of GC.
Yeah,
like going right
he's
through.
he's just in the office with his fists up, like, Commissioner, you needed me.
Big hole in the ceiling.
There's 2 holes from where he showed up yesterday.
But that's what I was gonna say. Is Gotham is just littered with like random like skylight holes from Batman.
But that's kind of what all these shows are suffering from, like at the moment, right? Because all these shows are essentially suffering from this idea that, okay, let's make, a television show about a villain of a much more popular character, but that much more popular character is not going to be on the show. Go. And you're kind of like, then what are we supposed to do?
This is the second time they've done this. It's Gotham.
Yeah,
and they just said, we're just going to do Gotham, but with a higher budget and more yellow.
That's
That's really all. But hey, it's me and HD asks, major question, is Batman included in the new Superman movie?
No.
As of yet, he has not been announced, but they do like to play stupid games. So I guarantee you...
They love to play stupid games.
I guarantee you Bruce Wayne...
HD. They can't even get Superman right, and you want them to do Batman and Superman? Like, slow down.
So this is
the first time.
What James Gunn says about this Superman is that he is a Superman that doesn't kill in a world where superheroes are killing, and he is trying to set a standard where we do not do that. We are better than that, and so it is, in all likelihood, very possible that a heartbroken Bruce Wayne, who is beating the hell out of criminals wearing women's tights on his head, decides to take up the mantle of Batman because Superman has given permission to superheroes not to kill. Whereas the code has been break the law, end of the line,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so that James Gunn, that strikes a good tone with me. I like that. I like that Superman shows up and he's like, well, guys, I'm bulletproof, so I think it's okay to not kill. All right? And everybody's like, well, you're bulletproof and comply, and you shoot lasers out of your eyes. So of course you think it's okay not to kill.
Shut up, get out of here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I can see the contention in the movie already. But at the end of it,
I think superheroes shouldn't kill.
At the end of it, you see Bruce Wayne in an alleyway holding up some bloodied bank robber. His knuckles are all crusted over with his blood and their blood, that kind of thing. And you see Clark flying over the alleyway on his way through. Dawn is just breaking over the top of the building, and Bruce realizes what he's done, and he drops the criminal, probably dead, and leaves the alleyway, realizing this is the last time this happened. Superman's here to set a different tone. And Batman is born from seeing Superman. So rather than Batman being born out of pain and anguish, Batman's inspiration came from hope. And I can see that being James Gunn's twist. He's got that kind of thought process about characters. Because it's kind of what he did with... Batista's character. He's just Thrax. He's just Space Batista to me in the movie. He's just Space Batista. But
he really is, especially after one. Yeah, after one.
That's what he did with Thrax. Thrax was just ready to murder, ready to kill. Everything was everything between him and Thanos was just didn't know it was dead yet. That was his thing. And what did he do with Star-Lord? Star-Lord was relentlessly oafish, relentlessly easygoing, relentlessly to take it easy, and Thrax calmed down. And he started doing stupid things like eating chips really slowly, thinking he was invisible. And he kind of became a fluffy thing as opposed to a stabby dumb thing.
Oh man.
And that's what he's gonna do, kind of do with Batman. He's gonna take Batman and be like, I saw a man fly overhead after stopping a bank robbery and he didn't kill anybody. I think it's okay not to kill any people. You know, kill
I
them.
feel like it'll be that because I have this weird feeling, and I don't really know where it comes from. Maybe it's just like his approach to all the things and the way he talks about all the DC projects. But I feel like Gunn has a weird attitude towards Batman, where I feel like once he gets his Batman in there, he's gonna go out of his way to do like, you know,
really unique.
Well, really unique, but also like dispel the Bat God myth. Like I feel like that's what he's gonna want to do. So we're gonna why
subvert your expectations is what you're trying to say.
Exactly. That's what I was getting at. Is like with what Cider was just saying. Now I'm afraid that it's like instead of because admittedly, if we're gonna do like a premise change, that what Cider just said wasn't half bad. I was actually kind of into it. I like the idea of like Superman inspiring hope in his like number one, not rival, but like friend, companion, whatever you want to call it, eventually partner, whatever they end up as.
Yeah.
But
World's Finest.
Yeah, but I can see, World's Finest. I can see Gunn instead taking an attitude where he clowns on Batman for being Batman, right? Like they'll all be together in the Justice League room or whatever, and they'll be in, like watching something on the screen, and it's like, oh man, the Joker's doing this. We've got to shut. You know, how do we access the system? And Batman's like, I've already done it.
In the Great Hall of the Justice League,
right? But Batman will be there, be like, I've already done this. Like I hacked into it, 4 months ago when I was doing a case with Robin. Instead of everybody being like, dang, that's Batman. Like he's on business. They're going to be like, typical Bruce.
Right.
And it's going to be like, oh,
the quirky millennial ironic humor where you're like, is that legal? Is he allowed to do that? Who gave us authorization? Don't tell the president, okay? Just don't, that whole ironic millennial humor instead of being everyone saying, you just did that on your own and didn't tell anybody? Like, we wouldn't need to know that. And Batman's like, I'll tell you what you need to know when you need to know it. And everyone looks at Superman and he puts his hands up and says, he gets it done, guys. That's why I like him.
Yeah. But instead you're going to get like, this is what I do. And then you'll get everybody chastising him. Like, you shouldn't spy on your friends. Why are you doing? And it's like, I just feel like they're going to try and bring Batman down so hard that they're going to go way too far. Yeah, exactly. Overcorrect it right into the ground.
And that's where we're at, is you've got a lot of people that want to go bat metal. They want to have Batmans show up and hurt the Justice League and beat their ass and all that stuff. And then you have the other end of it that are people that are like, they'd like to have Batman to go, like I do. I'm one of these dopes that wants Batman to go back to being like Adam West, where you can park the Batmobile out front of Gotham PD, unlocked, walk inside, and take a call in Commissioner Gordon's office in front of him. Okay, I like that Batman that can't get rid of a bomb because he doesn't want to kill ducks. It's not because I want. It's not because I think that like a hardcore Batman is stupid or whatever. I understand people's interest in it. I don't like a killer Batman, but the Batman that solves crime was Adam West. It was very simplistic crime. It was, we've stolen a giant stick of dynamite, Batman. What will you do? We've dehydrated. We've turned the world leaders into multicolored powder, and yet they're still alive, Batman. Stop us.
Oh my, if they actually did that, this is funny. Like, because it's like the 60s. I know what they would do. They would put all of like, this is the president. And they would have like Adam West shake it and be like, what's that, Mr. President? He's telling me that like what the codes are or what, like, that's how they would say that they're still alive and communicating, is just shake the little vial.
You shake the vial. It says, yes, it's Morse code. Yes, sir, I understand. I have to get your body recorporealized before the dead man switch launches the nuclear weapons at Soviet Russia. 10 hours? Yes, no, 9 hours. You're right, sir. We've got to go. Come on, Robin.
Holy daylight savings time, Batman. We got the time wrong. We only have 7 hours. Good gosh, chum. Like,
we're basically one step away from bringing back the onomatopoeias at this point. We might as well, right?
Why not? Let's just have the big flashing pow bang stuff like that. And it only happens with Batman punches, and people start noticing.
Honestly, this is why I know it's not good per se, but I have like this. That's sort of I have this weird affinity for the Schumacher Batman because I feel like they do hit that weird. The story and the material isn't good, but sort of like the theming and the setting hits that, like, it's dark, dangerous Gotham, but it's still like Batman could, roll up to Commissioner Gordon's office and not have to break a hole in the wall.
Right. It's not so bad yet. It's just bad.
Yeah.
But I also miss
bad.
I also miss comic book style Gotham from those movies where you had these giant Greek statues holding up bridges and they're just jutting out of buildings and stuff. That was awesome. That was ridiculous.
So cool.
And it just evoked how like evil Gotham was, just have like giant statues staring you in the face as you're taking a shower in the morning. You got an apartment next to Apollo's face as he stares you down, wiping your ass,
Sit down in the morning, he's just
right. It's just you can't open your blinds because the eyeball is right there, Good morning, Apollo. Great, thanks. I need to move. And that's
I'm going to Coast City.
Where do you live? The left eye. But that's but that's where we're at, is that like that's the only solution to like your hardcore Batman now. And you're right, they're gonna try and shit him up. They're gonna try and bring Batman way too far low, as opposed to just bringing him back to what Meteor Advocate Timon, member of the channel, pointed out here, that the TAS version of Batman would satisfy both the people that want to have like a badass hardcore Batman that gets shit done, and a detective Batman that also still wants to make sure he's not killing ducks.
No, I agree. I think that is the perfect medium there. The problem is you have all these creators who, like Jacob said and like Cider said, they want to subvert things and put their unique stamp on things. So they look at that and they go, that's cool, but it's been done. Nobody wants to see that anymore. And it's like, yeah, we actually kind of do want to see that. So that's why we're going to get Batwiener. I don't even know how it's going to end up, but it's not going to be great. I don't have hope for a gun Batman.
That
means he's a grower, not a shower.
Wow. So we already had the goofy Batman. It was named Batman and Robin. People apologized for it. That's correct.
That is.
But I would like to throw Batman the Brave and the Bold, the cartoon, in there as the way to modernize that 60s Batman. Because that character kept the I don't want to kill ducks attitude, but I'm also not afraid to punch a woman. And that's I don't mind that character.
And that version also played with the goofiness of the 60s series with like, oh, let me reach into my belt, like my belt, bat earplugs. But the way they did it, like they didn't mock it. So you just went like, yeah, that's Batman. Of course he's going to.
He just seemed ever prepared.
Yeah, exactly.
I think Green Arrow pointed that out. The jackass Green Arrow he was up against all the time. He was like, do you have a bat everything?
Everything?
Yeah, there's trick pockets.
There's an episode where they end up like in the Arrow cave or whatever, and I think Robin's there, and like Batman walks forward to use the computer, and Robin just looks at Green Arrow. He's like, "You really wanted to be Batman, huh?" And he just like huffs off.
Was it was a MasterCard or was it a Visa? I want to say it was an American Express. Then.
I kind of want to say it was an American Express.
Batman was an American Express customer, but that raises even more questions.
Who's funding him? What's the bank?
It's Alfred sitting there thinking like, all right, so you won't reveal to your family, the living members, that you're Batman, but you'll reveal to a corporation that sells your information for money.
They just keep getting like the mailers they send you that's like, you're approved for credit card. Like Batman himself keeps getting that like to the front door of like Wayne
Batman,
Manor, like,
would you like to enlarge your penis today?
Master Bruce, this is why we can't sign up for that.
Batman, when Catwoman's ready, will you be?
Will you be? Vote Dent.
Yeah, vote Dent. Yeah, that's all of those text messages he's getting all the time. It gets him shot. Those political text messages gets him shot.
I couldn't take it anymore. 50 texts for Gotham. We need you. I just couldn't do it.
I have my limits for whoever I'm talking to. I have my limits.
Honestly, I wouldn't be opposed to that being sort of like a new political character origin story, because those things are so annoying and they
Gothcard.
don't work. Gothcard, his own bank. He set up his own payment
Accepted
processor.
anywhere misery is sold.
He's his own bat payment processor. Nerdigans, he could handle all the Japanese sites.
I mean,
Oh
at
my
this point, I
God.
think people would rather just watch a movie where Batman's just a complete and total psychopath rather than being just like a good guy. Like, maybe we could do something like this. I have a video here I want to show you guys real quick.
Oh,
Is it The Last Red Ranger again?
Oh, no, it's even better.
My favorite video.
Hey man, can I just get a water cup?
Yeah. Oh! Did he? Yes, I saw the pool one earlier.
Water.
oh,
You wanted Sprite.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Yeah,
just go around.
Yeah, there's one where he goes like it's like no swimming after 10 p.m. and the guy goes into the pool and no, it's no diving like in the shallow zone, and he dives, and when he comes up, Batman's there and just like socks him in the face.
Yeah, here's another one real quick.
The card.
Is this your shopping cart?
Yes. No, this is my shopping cart. Yeah, but I was gonna put it back.
Don't lie to me.
Just Batman beating up citizens half to death.
now, so when they started doing the Batman versus Superman advertisements, I originally thought that the angle was is there was an imposter Batman. That because Darkseid was interfering with things, that there was an evil Batman from another universe that had been pulled through, and he was going around abusing these criminals, trying to draw Bruce out into a showdown.
Ooh,
It
that's
turns
way
out,
better.
no, it was just regular Batman.
Nope, it's the
It was
regular
just
old Bruce.
regular Batman marking criminals for death in prison. Yeah. Wouldn't even
I
kill
can
him
never-
himself.
Mhm.
You know?
I can't get over that. Like, he's not even killing, he's torturing them for like just
Mhm.
cause. He's torturing them for branding. Thanks, Zack
Murder
Snyder.
bat. Murder bat.
You just walk into Arkham Asylum, it's just a giant, like, bloody symbol of a bat just on the wall. You're gonna be asking you
So-
questions how it got
And,
there.
and that's like the voluntary intake waiting room. Like, that's where all the blood is.
Mhm.
This would be a very, very fun way for James Gunn to introduce his Batman. You have a multiversal traveling Thomas Wayne, who is hell-bent on murdering every Joker. And so Batman has to protect a White Knight Joker that is, in this universe, he was reformed. And he is a bit of a jackass, a little bit Lexian about it, you know, but he's a reformed Joker and Thomas Wayne. So the showdown is murderous Thomas Wayne, who's been going around just beating the ass off of jaywalkers, beating the ass off of he's just hyper aggressive, you know, Thomas Wayne Batman,
yeah.
you know, and he came from a dead universe, so he has nothing to lose. He's not going back. There's nothing to go back to. There's nothing. And so he's just going around wiping out Jokers. And so that's the whole gimmick. So you have that really hardline Batman that's got a tank, and he's got the fold over brass knuckles with kryptonite lace diamond encrusted fuck you pads. And you got, you know, this new Batman that's like, that's not what we do here. Like doing the whole "we don't do that here" thing. Like the child, we don't do that here.
Yeah.
that
We
kind
don't
of
do
thing.
that to you.
We don't do that here. And so the showdown comes down to literally, you know, Batman versus his father, and Thomas Wayne loses the fight because he's over aggressive, that sort of thing. And that would be a good way to demonstrate. And then, of course, you have Bruce showing mercy to his father, and then you could have them reforming. So you have an ongoing duo of Thomas Wayne hanging up the bat thing, saying, I'm a killer. I can't go out there. I'll hurt him. But I'll help you fight crime back here. And then you can get that cool bat armor that you got when Batman Beyond was fighting Inc. And they had to have, Bruce
I
had
know
to
what
get
you're
into the
talking
big
about,
mech
yeah.
armor. So Thomas is too old now to fight these young monsters and stuff like that. So he's got this bat armor that he breaks out when Bruce gets in over his head.
I like that idea. So I'm mostly a fan of that idea, except the one part I counter, and it's not because it's bad. It's just what if it went this way? because I feel like doing a evil, like Thomas Wayne gets redeemed at the end and becomes a hero. I feel like that would end up leaning too hard into the things we see all the time nowadays. Where
Oh
it's
yeah,
like
redeeming the
heroes,
villain. Yeah.
yeah, villains are just misunderstood. I mean, that's what I was going to say during our
Yeah.
Penguin talk. I think that's why that show is so successful right now, is because the Penguin's a bastard and they don't make any airs about it. Like, you're not supposed to sympathize with him. You're supposed to be like, oh, he made bad decisions. He's a bad person. Like, they don't shy away from that. So that's what worries me there. Obviously, if somebody like you was behind the script, I would be more open to it because you would handle it better. But thinking of like James Gunn's optimism in his world, what if it's like Thomas Wayne dies in Bruce's arms or whatever, but there is that Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker sort of redemption moment, and that's what inspires Batman to take Dick in, like
sure,
to get his first Robin, because he's like,
he said, you got Thomas Wayne's last words to him are like, I'm glad you're the son. I'm glad you turned out to be the son I really wanted, or
something like that.
And it's Jeffrey Dean Morgan, of course, because there's no other.
Of
Thomas
course,
Wayne. I can't. I agree. There's no other Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Now, I want to address the multiverse thing. It is a problem when it's used stupidly. The multiverse is it's not meant to lead to these stupid wars. It's not meant to lead to these stupid endless villain chains that just have a jacket shift, a haircut difference. The multiverse is meant to represent a complete shift in what is known. The only multiverse that ever appealed to me in any way, shape, or form was the one where Superman ended up landing on on Apokolips and was raised by Darkseid, only to become Highfather himself. And the reason why is because Superman didn't become Superman. The status quo was not returned. He became Highfather, effectively Lord High Master of the universe. That's what Superman did in that one, okay?
He took on, right now as Superman, he's like unofficial Darkseid rival. Once he became Highfather, he's like, I am your polar opposite. I am the good to Darkseid's light, or evil.
I'm literally powered by the sun. Can you think of a better guy? And so that whole, the multiverse isn't evil. The problem is that they want to corporatize it. So they're like, well, we need this Pikachu, and this Pikachu doesn't have the stripe on its tail. And we're going to make sure that we put 10 billion fucking merch items out about that Pikachu without a tail without a brown tail.
That's what like the multiverse has become. Yeah.
And that's what they do. Gamora's dead. Well, screw it. We'll just go get another one that likes to kick Star-Lord in the nuts all the time. That'll be great. And that's the problem.
Well, we spent like 5 years and like several movies building up this love story, and then we're just gonna ball it up and throw it in the trash can.
Ball it up and kick Chris Pratt in the nuts. That's what we're doing with it after 5 years.
Can't have that toxic
literally.
masculinity, okay? Can't have a woman showing emotion for a man. That's not appropriate. How dare you?
And that's what they did. So they just go find another Gamora. They just go find another Gamora. They just go find another Lord Zed. Just go find another Lord Zed.
But for some, they could find another Gamora, but somehow we couldn't find another Scarlett Johansson anywhere in the multiverse. She's dead. Like every single universe, she's dead.
Couldn't find another T'Challa. Like nope. All black guys are died. All black guys are died in the multiverse.
So you know, in the beginning of that song, "We Will Rock You," right?
Yeah.
So that it's like a collage of all of these Black Widows just hitting the ground in different universes, and that every timeline, every instance, Natasha Romanoff falls off of something or dives off of something, and to her death. It's no other way.
It's officially
it's just doom 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 doom. Buddy,
No, you know what it is? It's officially a canon event, so she has to die in every single universe. So yeah,
just like that. Yep, that'd be great. You're not an anchor being. You're a pancake being.
You're a gravity being. Jacob, you saw Tomorrow War, right? That really bad Chris Pratt movie. That I think is the only interesting scene in the entire movie. So for those of you who don't
when
know,
they get like quite literally like it's like when you're like a Battlefield game and you're in the loading screen and they just like airdrop you into the battlefield.
So yeah,
except for they didn't give anyone any parachutes whatsoever.
That's my favorite part. So for those of you who don't know what we're talking about or don't remember or didn't watch it, Tomorrow War was this time travel action movie that Chris Pratt was in for Amazon like a couple years ago. It's not good. I don't recommend watching it, but yeah, the whole thing is like the future army comes back in time to recruit people to fight the war in the future. So there's this one scene where they get all the new recruits in the past and they're like, all right, we're going to deploy you into the battlefield. Are you ready? And everybody's got their kits and they're all standing in a big football field. And they're like, yes, hit the teleporter. And when they teleport them, it just puts them like in the like skyline of like LA. So like, some people land on like the roofs or whatever, and they're fine. But so many of them.
Put it to you like this: you ever play Call of Duty, and then like the second you spawn into the game, you're getting gunned down by a chopper, like right out of spawn. It's literally like that.
That scene is the only like funny scene or entertaining scene in the entire movie
because it's so stupid. Because the whole plot is that okay, for whatever reason, we can't send young, able-bodied people to go fight this war, so we're gonna send a bunch of 40, 50-year-old like housewives and like and van dads over to fight the war. Right. So it's like, okay, you guys are the only ones who could possibly survive this. So they drop them into the war, and they quite literally drop them into the war. It's like they're not like standing like from the ground level or anything like that. They can like look around and scan their surroundings. It's like they're literally falling from like thousands of feet in the air, and they're bouncing off of buildings and just going like straight to the ground. It's like this was your plan, just to kill off like a third of your entire army like from the jump. Like the monsters haven't even shown up yet. They're already dying.
Like the monsters win. I'm giving it to the monsters. You guys aren't winning. What also made me mad about that Plant and Jacob is like, theoretically, if you've got this time travel tech, you can go to the future and get troops who, if they die, theoretically their timeline won't exist anymore anyway. But you go back in time and not only recruit people from the past, but the chick from Chuck, she goes and recruits like her dad specifically. So it's like if something happens to him, you disappear too. This entire operation disappears. What are we doing here, Amazon?
Being really dumb.
Yeah, so it was a very, very stupid movie. It was literally here you go. Here, there's Chris Pratt. There's the dude from the Tim Robbins Netflix comedy series. You have Snail from Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and like this is your SEAL Team 6
Snail,
going in there.
That's right.
This is your SEAL Team 6 going in to fight giant intergalactic monsters from another universe.
This movie sucks so hard. It's so bad.
Oh, this is bad. It was embarrassing.
But no, like, so back to what we were talking about, like that is, to what you're saying, Cider, that is sort of the problem with what they've done with the multiverse now, is that if everybody remembers, the Elseworld stories or the What If stories, what was fun about them was you were seeing an alternate moment in history, right? Like, what if Spider-Man didn't give up the black suit? What if Captain America never came out of the ice? Things like that. So you could see like that was the interest, seeing the ways life could go differently. Nowadays, it's just used as an excuse for like, oh, we killed off your favorite character, but don't worry, they're back. And this time they're gay now. Like that's like Cider said, it's the commoditization. It's all of it is done just to merchandise at you. It sucks.
Yeah. and that's really it, is that they have to bring back the Black Panther. They have to bring back and there's only one way to do that. There's only one single way to do that, because everybody refuses to put M'Baku into that role, even though that guy fought for it in the first movie. It totally makes canonical sense as to why, and they made fun of him for it in that movie with Wakanda Forever.
Yeah, well, I was going to say I don't know if you saw number 2, Cider, because I know you at least have better things to do with your time. I had to watch it because of the site, but there's a point in that movie where like when the war is starting between Atlantis and Wakanda, all the like Wakanda leaders are together in like a council room, and M'Baku's the one who's like, we got to go kick their asses. Like, I'm done with this. You guys are all like, we have to fight. Like, he's taking charge, and then Shuri drops in the Black Panther armor, and everybody goes, oh, never mind, we'll listen to her. And I'm like, dude, he was right there. It's basically like the guy who comes in, like, you tell a joke, nobody hears it, guy says the same joke, and everybody's like, you're so funny, like, hell yeah, this is the best. You're like, what the heck, I was right here. It's bad. It's par for the course for Marvel.
See Radar's face. It's right there. He knew.
And I like this guy. I like the actor. I forget his name, but he's in a couple things, and I like him.
And I just think that he would have been a better choice to be the Black Panther as that character. He had a lot to learn. He had a lot of character growth. He had the be able to unite the two
I think
lands that
you
had
would
been
have
at
been a
war.
better choice for Black Panther than what they actually went with.
Nerdigans would have been a better choice at this point.
So I did do that video of me as the Black Panther. You know that, right? I did.
I can't wait
That's
for
why.
that
That's
one.
why we're.
The
That's why we're
Wakanda
on
Forever.
board. We saw the casting tape. We saw your audition tape.
Yeah, there it is. Hold on, I'll bring it up. It's
Black Panther if he was born in South Africa.
Black Panther if he was born above the equator.
Yeah.
So.
I forgot you use this song.
Yep.
I mean, you can play it, whatever, if we get demonetized, but
No,
I
it's
just forgot
that's
that you had
just
it.
long enough. No, it's just long enough that it doesn't get hit because it's just that. I learned it.
It's only enough to get YouTube's attention, but not enough for him to fully investigate.
Right, exactly. It's like, is that copyright? No, that's somebody stubbing their toe.
It's like YouTube heard a large thud in the background. They turned around. I was like, it must have been nothing.
AC/DC?
Yeah,
AC/DC?
Is that AC/DC? Is that the Beatles? All right, but I'm watching you.
There was a time when Thunderstruck was the most copyright claimed
Really?
video on YouTube.
Really?
Yeah.
You can thank the Dallas Cowboys for that one.
Yep.
Oh,
it
that's
was,
right.
It was wall-to-wall sports videos. It wasn't the anime music videos that was using it. It was Thunderstruck was for all of those sports videos where those guys were like tackling each other midair, and YouTube's like, you wait, bitch, you wait.
Oh yeah, because if you know, Thunderstruck is the official song for the Dallas Cowboy cheerleader. So anytime that someone played the song for that, it's like pop, pop.
Gotcha.
Right, the apartheid panther. You know. But yeah, M'Baku is a good choice for this. See, Timon says to reboot it all, and I don't have superhero fatigue. I have agenda fatigue. So I don't want them to reboot it. I don't want them to recast it. I want them to end it. Get it out of their system. End it. Take it up in the next 5 years. Let it cool off. Let people get bored of horror and action, and then they'll come back to the sci-fi superhero thriller. Leave the agenda at the door and try it again with people that are more engaged in the material than the propaganda. We have a video that we play at the beginning of the streams here, not this one, but of all these writers that explain that they were told by Disney, do not investigate the material you're creating. So it's not going to change. Disney at the top. It's not the directors making that choice. It's not the producers. It's Bob Iger. It's Kathleen Kennedy. It's Kevin Feige, all making the decision. We don't want to pay royalties. So hire people who have no idea what a Black Panther is. They don't even know what the animal is. Hire them and fill their heads full of a bunch of Wikipedia entries and set them loose on a script. And that's what they do.
I just realized something too, Cider. The Wikipedia entry thing is something they do too, but there's also, I'm sure it happened in Marvel. We don't have direct confirmation, but if you guys remember during the Acolyte, not Kathleen Kennedy, Harvey Weinstein's assistant lady, I cannot remember her name for the life of me right now. Yes, Leslie Headroom. That's right. She hijacked the Chicago broadcast signal back in 94. But she said that she went and she intentionally hired someone who knew not was unfamiliar with Star Wars, but basically didn't know anything. And Headland gave this anecdote. She's like, yeah, we were in the writer's room and she's asking what's Chewbacca? Is that a dog? And that was and it's that is a problem too, because they bring in these people who, I understand. And it's not necessarily a bad creative technique to say, hey, as somebody, Cider, you don't know this material as much as I do. Could you give it a read and sort of let me know your thoughts and what I could approve here or there? And dang, I just totally forgot what I was talking about. Yeah. So that's good. And you can go oh yeah, maybe I'm getting a little bit too comic booky here, or I'm leaning too much into lore. I can scale it. Right, exactly. You need that jock to come in and give you edgy sometimes. But the problem is nowadays they bring that person in, and when they say something dumb oh yeah, Chewbacca's a dog, right? Instead of being no, and you need to get that thinking out. He is a Wookiee, and we need to think of him like that. They go, oh, there are no bad ideas. You could view him as a dog. Let's explore that dog relationship. Or like, yeah, and it's just like, you need to be able to say no. It's that toxic positivity thing that the Concord devs were all talking about. That if everybody is saying, yes, this is great, you end up with slop because just every ingredient is being added to the pot. Yeah, there is, I think I've talked about it, and I don't remember it exactly, but there's this interview where Steven Spielberg is sort of talking about making, I believe it's one of the last two Indiana Jones movies, Crystal Skull or the one before that, not the new one. But when Kathleen Kennedy was on the crew, there's a story Steven Spielberg tells where they're all writing and they're trying to like figure out the ending of Indiana Jones. And it's like, okay, so what does he do? Does he get the girl? Does he get the treasure? Does he get the job? Like, what does Indy get at the end? And he says that Kathleen Kennedy came up with this idea that was just like, what if he gets the dog? And she was trying to be subversive and be like, what if I change your expectations? But nobody in the room was like, they all just ignored it. That's what Steven says. He's like, we just moved on. But she wouldn't stop. She kept giving me these kind of ideas that were disconnected from what we were doing and simply there to make it unique. And Steven Spielberg was like, it's the most frustrating thing I've ever done.
So that is that's emblematic of how we understand Kathleen Kennedy to function. The whole
explains
effort,
a lot for sure.
That Rey is their only thing that they're
Well, explains
focusing
everything
on.
except for how she still has a job after all these
Yeah,
years.
that too.
Her and Feige, man, they've got to have some dirt on somebody because there's no way these two should still be around.
Somebody has their number in either Epstein's call list or like Diddy's call list. Somebody's on some list.
They're on both, I bet. Genuinely, I would see them on both.
Like, here's the thing, though, Spencer. Before I forget, Feige has some leg to stand on because of what happened before. You know, like when Marvel was still good.
Yeah,
but Kathleen she's got nothing. There is no excuse for her to even.
Hey, maybe she has like those Playboy Mansion Polaroids somewhere in a safe on an offshore account
or maybe
somewhere.
she was like the Ghislaine to Diddy's Jeffrey. Like maybe she was the contact lady. But you're not wrong, Nerdigans. But I think right now, I think that sort of doesn't matter because it's been so long since Feige has done anything good that if we look at like, how are you now? I think we can recognize like, yeah, in the past MCU, up until Endgame was enjoyable. We all had fun. We all liked it for the most part. But then we also have to like do the reality check of like, but he's done nothing great since, right? Sort of like Don Aaron Rodgers, right? Everybody can go, yeah, he was the greatest. He was so good on the Packers. He's amazing. And now he's on the Jets and he's still playing. And some people are going like, yes, he's still the best. He's still Aaron Rodgers. And it's like, we need to acknowledge that he's not anymore. Like we really need to be real with this.
we need to acknowledge that he's kind of trash.
Yeah. But then on your end, yeah, like Kathleen Kennedy is Justin Fields, Mitch Trubisky, Caleb Williams. He's all of those. He is the new one on the scene who just never, or she's the new one on the scene who just never has had a hit and probably won't.
Yep. I'll go ahead, Nerds.
Yeah.
No, you basically said what I was going to say.
Oh, I didn't mean to do that, but yeah. Kathleen Kennedy's awful. We all know that. But Feige needs to go at this point. He's been there too long.
Yeah, and his word is out is welcome. Like he did what he needed to do. And here's the thing, if he would have been still pumping out hits for Marvel, I think it would be a different story.
Oh, 1,000%.
Yeah, but like outside of like a couple of shows, I think, and maybe a movie or so, like outside of that, he hasn't really done that much. But Kathleen Kennedy has done nothing. Like that's why I'm like, Kevin Feige still has an excuse to maybe be there.
It's more understandable to see why Feige is still there than it is to see why Kathleen is still there.
I want to take you guys back to a story that some of you guys may remember. This is probably one for like you hardcore cinema fans out there. It just goes to show you just how terribly Marvel is doing on every conceivable level at the moment. We all know the story. We'll talk about it here in a second. How they basically confirmed, hey, guess what? Guess who failed another test screening? Oh yeah, Captain America 4. Now our budget is going to be over $400 million for this absolute disaster of a movie that just probably double what it was originally supposed to cost at this point. But I want to take you guys back to the story. You guys remember the original Home Alone movie, right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure everyone has seen the movie. Came out
Not
in 1990.
the one with Donald Trump, everyone. All right.
The
star-studded moment's the next one.
Yeah, but if you go back, but listen,
unless you're watching it on TV, I think they still have that. That's the edit they still play.
Yeah, right. But no, so listen to how this is how studios used to work back in the day, right? So Home Alone was originally financed and distributed by Warner Brothers. They were the ones who were supposed to come out with the film. And basically, what's his name? John Hughes said that he was going to try to make the movie for about $10 million. That was initially the budget. Due to other restrictions that they didn't foresee, the budget ended up blowing up to about $14.7 million. Now, in the grand scheme of things, that's only a difference between like $4.7 million. You don't think that that's a massive number to be like, oh my God, the sky is falling, right? But Warner said that you got to cut the budget by at least $1.5 million, or we're pulling the plug on this entire film. And he refused to do it. So Warner literally pulled the plug on the production of that movie because they did not feel like it was worth the investment that they were putting into it. This is Home Alone, and they were only about like I said, $13 million at the time period, right? Now, of course, what happened was that Fox ended up taking the rights to the movie, and they finished the movie, ended up being like a massive hit, right? But going back to a time period where studios thought that if you went $2 million over your allotted budget, that they would shut down the film. They would say like, hey, look, this is too rich for our blood. We're out of here. We'll recoup whatever we invested, but we're not investing a cent more into this. So that was 1990. That's how Hollywood used to work back in the day before, 30 different media corporations owned, or 3 or media corporations owned everything that you watch. Now here we are in 2024. This film right here is solidly about $150 to $200 million over its original budget, and they're still reshooting and they're still pumping money into this. Is $400 million now. You're looking at a break even of somewhere like $1.2 billion at this point. There's no way this film is ever going to be profitable, especially since the word of mouth on this movie right now is that it's awful, it sucks, it's failed 3 test screenings, yet for some reason no one is getting fired. Like, it doesn't make any sense how you can fail at such a grievous level like this film has, and no one's fired, no one's losing their job, heads aren't rolling. Like, they should be cleaning house over there, especially when you compound that with what's going on with Blade, what's going on with the Thunderbolts movie, the fact that they had to get Robert Downey Jr. out of the grave just for him to come back and play another character. It's like,
I actually forgot about that. I legitimately forgot about that until you brought it up again.
It's like, someone should be fired. It's like, I don't know what Bob Iger is doing right now. He's another person who's not really getting as much heat as he deserves, considering the fact that he's the one that decided, oh, I'm going to come back and save Disney, and 2 years later have to save the damn thing. But it's like, how can you be this incompetent? Is it just because, like I said, Disney's a multi-billion-dollar national corporation that they just don't care at this point how much money that they lose, that they're losing hundreds of millions of dollars? This isn't, the $2 million that Warner thought they were going to lose in 1990. This is hundreds of millions of dollars. This is probably, best case scenario, probably a $300 million loss for Disney just from this movie alone.
Dude, I think you're underestimating that loss. Like, I think it's going to be way...
Like I said, best case scenario is looking at least $300 million. And even then, you're going to have to fudge the numbers a lot to try to get it to that.
That's what I mean. Like, because so the budget, it was already big. And then they boost... It was already sitting at like $275 million. And then they boosted it during the reshoots by another $100 million to about $375, $425. That's where it was sitting. Now... They're doing more, not just more reshoots, as we heard from Giancarlo, like they just did more last week. But if they're going to be spending all that time to either do more reshoots or even recut it and re-edit it in the studio, that's more money that they've got to sink into this thing. I genuinely believe we are.
And they still haven't set aside a marketing budget yet.
That's what I mean. I genuinely feel like we're looking at least a $500,000 standard budget.
$1 million.
Yeah, so, million, not thousand. 500 million budget standard, meaning if we take the marketing budget equation where you double the regular budget, we're looking at $1 billion for this movie. There's no way in hell, in any reality, no reality was there a time this movie was going to make $1 billion. It just not even at the best of MCU times would this have made $1 billion. It's just absolutely impossible.
I wonder what was the break even for Endgame, right? Because that one I know was like almost $300 million just on production alone. So, but then again, I mean, that was a movie that they were expecting to make, a couple of $1 billion. All
right
things go. So they didn't have any problem with spending that much on that movie because they know that, hey, this is pretty much the end. Everyone's gonna go out and like watch this. But
and
what was the actual?
They also got like to fudge the marketing budgets just a little bit. And by fudge, I mean like Endgames was probably reduced to an extent because they'd already done most of their marketing with Infinity War. With Infinity War, that's where you got to be like, this is the end. Like you got to come see it. Everybody's showing up. And then for Endgame, you basically just got to be like, you know what's happening. Come see the end of the fight. That's what's happening.
So I believe at the time it was estimated that Avengers Endgame needed at least $800 million worldwide just to break even. Now, that was 5 years ago, right? So you have to adjust with inflation and a lot of other things, and that threshold is kind of moved up. I would say that depending on if they can, like, I don't know, cut some money out of the marketing budget, which wouldn't help them in any way, shape, or form, try to get this movie out here. Because like I said, you're going to have to try to convince people that this movie isn't a steaming pile of crap, which I don't know how you do that at this point. But let's say a conservative number is $1 billion is needed for this to even scratch a sniff of a profit. Does anyone really think that Captain America Brave New World with Anthony Mackie is going to make $1 billion?
No, no. And that's sort of what is in my mind all the time, Jacob. It's like, when do you cut your losses? When does Disney say, no matter how much makeup we put on this pig, it's still going to be a pig? And we just got to let it out.
To put this in perspective, the highest grossing Captain America movie was Civil War. That one only made $1.1 billion. And that was with all the Avengers attached to that movie.
There's a crossover in that. It's a crossover movie, and Spider-Man shows up for the first time in that movie. Yeah, there's a lot working for, and Black Panther. So there's a lot working for that one movie.
Mm-hmm. So I say nothing about this movie makes a lick of sense. It's like Anthony Mackie is not a draw. He's not an A+ box office name in any stretch of the imagination. This is based off of a character that nobody likes and nobody asks for. This is not even a popular character in the comic books. You have a whole bunch of other people, a whole bunch of no names associated with this movie. It's like, I'm sorry, no one cares about Harrison Ford anymore, even though he's near death. No one's gonna race out there and get it. And by the way, the narrative is that this movie absolutely stinks because it's now failed 3 separate test screenings. So this is not even like getting any kind of good buzz to even inspire people to go to a movie theater to go see this. This is a disaster on every conceivable level. And it's like, how are people not being fired from this?
To contribute to its problems, like, you also got to remember that there was not even a point where this movie had a positive like hype behind it, right?
No.
From the second Cap gave his shield over to Sam, everybody was like, this is stupid. I do not care about this. Where is Bucky? Like, that was supposed to be the thing. Then we got their show, and nobody likes that show. Even the press has started to like turn on it, and they're like, it wasn't very good. It kind of went, all over the place. So it's like nothing about this character worked. And yet you're not only going forward with his solo movie still, but you're trying to dress it up to sort of trick us. You're trying to do the 80s, like, nerdy girl gets a hot girl makeover, but this is like you can't do it to this one. Like, this is just an ugly girl. Like this is a hog all the way through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this one's been ran through by a high mileage, just put it that way. I mean, I don't know how they're possibly going to try to gaslight people into buying into this. Like I said, you've given away, like, because you've reshot this so many times and so much footage is out there with all the trailers that you've presented. Like, everyone's pretty much knows everything that's going to be in this film. You spoiled Red Hulk already. You spoiled the Israeli girl. You're like, we know the Serpent Society is a part of it. So it's like, there's no tricks that you can put out. Like, everyone has basically already seen this movie. So there's nothing that, oh my God, I have to go see how how this ends. I mean,
Right.
if you want to read the spoilers on Reddit, you already know exactly how the film ends. So
No,
like,
no, genuinely, whatever if you guys didn't watch our stream where we broke it down and you haven't seen the spoilers yet, take 5 minutes and go, what do I think is going to happen in Captain America Brave New World? And be genuine about it. Don't just be like, oh, it's going to be hyper woke, but give it like a shot. Go read the spoilers. They will be exactly what you think is happening. Like to a T. It is awful.
So,
well, I just
yeah.
wanted to say this, okay? These reshoots are little tiny things. They're little tiny things. Giancarlo Esposito explained that he was going back to do a couple of reshoots, which means they had to change a line. They had to change a certain action. Nothing huge. There was no total re-scene creation.
Right,
needed.
right,
It might even have been a bit of ADRing. But what that tells me is that this has a lot to do with what's going on in Israel. They are, it seems most of the reshoots correspond with how that's going, with how the left is slowly circling the drain over Gaza, and they can't figure themselves out over it. They're reacting with this movie. You remember Sabra was supposed to be full on Israeli, Captain Israel, just everywhere. Then they reduced her to that like Power Rangers RPM jacket where she's got a blue stripe on her black jacket.
Yeah.
You go, well, that's the Israeli superhero there. That's how we know. We don't even know if she's going to be in this movie at all. Some of these reshoots may be to fill the gap that she was in, and they just cut her out completely because any mention of Israel in any type of positive manner may cause the entire theater to erupt in menstrual blood and gasoline.
But here's the problem, though. I mean,
Yeah,
there's
go
two
on.
problems to that. One, I believe you're definitely correct. It could also have a lot to do with the fact that they had this whole thing written under the assumption that there's no way Trump's going to get back into the
That's
White
what
House.
I was going to bring up.
Because so like think about it. Like ask the left 6 months ago, they all thought he was going to prison. They didn't think he was actually going to win again, and now he's president-elect all over again. So there's probably some things that they have to course correct just based on that alone. Plus, like I said, the left is turned on Israel, so they have to like reshape that character altogether. But at the same token, you have to go like this. Okay, so if this is going to be a Captain America movie that panders to the left, then who else do you think is actually going to watch this movie? Because what you're telling people is that, okay, we're not going to pander to the right with a Captain America movie. So who's actually the target audience for this film? So who are you actually hoping gets off their butts and goes down to a movie theater, spends $15 on a ticket to go watch this crap?
Consumers, I guess, at this point, the whales.
It is the Funko Pop guys, and I'm not even shitting you. I guarantee you, people who buy those Funko Pops have walls and walls of them do this. And I'm sorry if you collect Funko Pops, you're not the person I'm talking about. I'm talking about the guy that when the Captain America Falcon suit came out, they were the ones that were in line at the toy store to get it. You know, they were freaking
Pre-order,
out when the pre-order sale was maxed out. They had to wait for a new shipment to come through. You know, they were mad. Those kind of.
I mean, we're looking at the reality here where, this, the Deadpool and Wolverine success from this year may end up being the biggest false positive probably in the last 10 years especially for Disney. Because sure, they'll celebrate Wolverine and Deadpool doing like over like $1 billion, but they got this disaster to worry about. They got Snow White coming around the corner as well. That's going to be another PR nightmare coming around the pike for them. They still got 2 other MCU films coming out next year that really no one has any true hype for. So it's like, like I said, celebrate your victory while you can, because if you look around the horizon, 2025 is not going to be a good year cinematically for Disney at all.
Dude, I legitimately right there, the viewers probably saw it, but like you were like, they have 2 movies next year. I legitimately had to sit and be like, what the hell? Thunderbolts and
Fantastic Four.
Yeah. This movie just looks not, I don't know. Like I'm watching this. There are some like AI things, like that's clearly very not Harrison Ford. But none of this looks exciting. None of it. He doesn't have the serum. I don't know.
Not
how
to
he's
mention
surviving these things.
they changed his costume multiple times, so like they have to do like multiple
Which is
course
so
corrections on the
funny,
costume,
yes.
which is probably another reason why the film's been delayed, because they do have to do costume changes. That means they have to create a whole new setup and get him to shoot scenes in that setup and all the post production stuff too. Not to mention, it doesn't help things that the majority of these movies that we know of are shot on the blue screen, so that makes it super expensive that they have to go back and reshoot everything, because they literally have to reshoot every single angle of what you're seeing here, spec from spec. I mean, if you guys saw Secret Invasion when that came out last year, there was a scene where Nick Fury is supposed to be in like a hotel room in like Russia or something like that. That whole scene is blue screen. He's not even in an actual room. They couldn't even build a set of a hotel room for him to be in so they can shoot that. The whole thing was blue screen. That's how Disney works now.
Again, I will always bring up the scene in Black Widow after their first like mission together, when Natasha and Yelena are like having a beer at the outside cafe and they're talking about like, what do we do next? It's the most basic scene you could ever film, and the only thing that is real there is the table, the bottle, and the two, and Florence Pugh and Scarlett Johansson. The background is all CGI. The people are CGI. It is bizarre.
And that's the other thing that bothers me, just real quick. It's still the same stupid ass MCU humor that we've been putting up with ever since the Josh Whedon era of the MCU. Like, you guys saw the scene where he turns in the Red Hulk, and that's one chick's like, "Oh, they come in red now."
They come in red now, and I'm just like, "Oh, there it is, there it is."
Yeah,
which is even funnier because, like Cider pointed out, when I think it was last week, whenever we first looked at the my screen at the D23 Brazil stuff, Cider was like, look at how they cut this Cap trailer. They're clearly trying to go for the Civil War motif, the really hard like spy thriller, and then of course at the very end you got to throw in that MCU thing. So it's like, you guys don't know what you want to do. It's all done by committee. That's the problem. That you have one guy take an idea, and then you have 7 different executives who are like, oh, but don't forget about this, and don't forget about that, and don't forget about this, and they all have to be listened to. And none of them know what they're talking about because they haven't talked to a normal person in like 40 years.
Well,
yeah, go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to point out that we're looking at this from an angle of this is supposed to make money. They're looking at it as for an angle that it is supposed to send a message. And that's why there's no price tag on it. That's why nobody's getting fired. That's why nobody is being hauled out and they're being told we're going to put out this as a Disney Plus thing. It's over with. You can choose your own adventure with it now. So, that'd be fun. That'd be a fun thing, like a Disney Plus series where it's like, do you want Captain America to fight the Serpent Society? Do you want him to fight the Red Hulk? Would you like him to fight Sabra? Choose now.
Whoa, hold on, time. I know, but you put up a good idea, and I admittedly got excited. But Cider, you and I literally together this weekend saw what happens when they try to do that.
That's true.
We watched Cider and I. For those of you who don't know, DC is doing this thing now called DC Heroes United, which is a whatever the hell, but basically it's got like a series that the community can vote on, like what happens next. It's awful. It's like the worst thing we've ever. It's so bad.
And it's probably along the lines of how this was executed. So the situation with this is that they are sending a message with this. It's not about Trump. There may have been Trump things in it. It's not about MAGA. There may have been MAGA things in it. It is about telling everybody everywhere Captain America is black. That is what it's about. No, they lay awake at night, plagued by the idea that somewhere in the world, someone is still calling Sam Falcon.
They're like lying in their beds, like, how do we?
Well, remember that was a big
North Sentinel Island.
That was a big sticking point in the trailer they showed us a few months ago before they reshot it again. It was like, you may be Captain America, but you're not Steve Rogers or something like that, right?
I know,
you're right.
And it's
I'm not.
Yeah. Oh, that's what
so we're in agreement then. Thanks. Appreciate that. Okay, we're gonna fight now. Or what was that, Anthony Mackie? What kind? The script writer. What was that? What? You're right. I'm not. End of conflict. Thanks.
Well, I mean, here's one of the things that really gets me in all of the pre-release marketing they're doing and all the interviews. They're really hammering home, and Marvel Comics is doing this now too. They're really hammering home this idea that Sam is like a social worker, that he's out there with using his empathy to help villains or whatever. And I'm like,
Oh God.
one, I
ain't got a
understand.
super soldier serum. I got a heart.
I got heart, man. I got heart. No, that's exactly what it is. And like, yes, there's something to that. You can explore that theme. We've seen it in a bunch of like stories a million times over. But but what it kind of highlights to me is sort of the big problem with all of superhero media nowadays. And to exemplify it better, I'm going to sidestep to a Marvel comic that recently came out called Exceptional X-Men #3. This series is really, really, really bad. Don't get me wrong. It's about Kitty Pryde and Emma Frost teaching 3 new mutants, you know, how to be mutants or whatever. But they're this issue, Kitty's like, okay, fine, I will start training these mutants tomorrow. Training session day 1. And when they go to the training session, all they do is they meet in like a room and they do the icebreaker you do in like college, right? Like, okay, first day, say your name, say your power, say a fun fact about you. And they just sort of like talk to each other, and it lasts for 5 pages. And then at one point, one of the kids or Kitty's like, I know this seems lame, but hey, this is where I got started too. We all got to, you know, begin here. No worries. I was just like, whoa, I didn't know if that was on my end or yours. But Kitty's like, yeah, I know it's a little boring, but we all got to learn to get to know each other, yada, yada. And one of the kids goes, was this how you started too as an X-Men? And Kitty has this, like, it's one of those in the background, it's like flashing back, but she's in the present, and she's like, well, it was a little different. And in the back, you see this scene from her first appearance where they're in the danger room and it's going haywire. And so the X-Men have to battle their way out, and Kitty Pryde is freaking out because she's new. She doesn't know what to do. And I was reading this issue and I was like, that moment, I don't think they meant to do it, but they drew the perfect juxtaposition against like what we want from comics and what they're giving us. We don't want sitting down therapy sessions where everybody just talks about their conflicts and resolution. We want robots fighting. Like, that's what the medium is for. And the more you drift away from that, the more we end up with things like Brave New World, which is just, it's gonna be so preachy. It has to be so preachy. It's
There's no way.
Well, that's the other scary
way
thing.
it isn't. Yeah.
Just real quick, you know,
Of course.
we know that this thing has failed 3 test screenings, but they haven't been very specific to why the audiences really hated it, right? And they're being very vague on the exact reason why it was hated. So you can only imagine that on one end, man, maybe it was the fact that they didn't like all the Israel stuff on there and they hated that. Maybe it was the fact that they got a little too preachy and being like, yeah, Captain America's a black man and all this stuff. Maybe it was just freaking boring, right? They're trying to be very hush-hush on why the audiences have rejected this movie on 3 separate occasions now, and it doesn't seem to be getting any better.
We've gotten not like official ones, but from people who have supposedly been at the screenings or whatever. The 2 common criticisms we've heard are, one, the movie just doesn't make sense. Like everything, the events, it's like the plot itself is nonsensical. It doesn't link up. It's sort of like you go from point A to point B to point C. How, why, when, who, doesn't matter. You're just there now. So like a lot of people are like, I just couldn't follow that movie. And then, yeah, we have heard that there was a lot of, you know, preaching about politics to the audience, and that nobody was specific on how that, you know, showed up. So it might have been Trump swinging, or it might have been another like, hey, can I get a bank loan? And they go, no, we don't, you know, this is 1950s America or whatever.
Or so somehow Mackie is like, his character is still being checked at the White House. Be like, oh no, you're black. We don't think you work here. You need to go somewhere else.
You know that's going to be there. You know that's going to be there. They're either going to do it to
as
him.
if at this point someone doesn't know who Falcon is, right? So come on.
He's an Avenger. He has the shield. Like, what are we actually doing here?
You
Like,
remember
no,
how
that-
the guy saw the Hulk and he was like, "They come in red now." He he looks at the RD and he turns to the other guy. They come in black now.
They come in black now. Please, Marvel. I would laugh so hard. I would give that movie a 10 out of 10 and tell everybody to go see it if that line makes it in.
It probably
Oh, look,
will.
boys. He's
Of course
calling
it won't,
himself
Nerdigan.
Captain
The man can
America. You can see it. You can see it. He's calling himself Captain America now.
look at his
Steve
Captain
Rogers isn't
America.
dead for 2 years and you're already taking his job. Must be nice, you know? And all the subtle, I'm not
Yes,
calling you the
yes,
N-word,
yes.
but I am calling you the N-word. All of that. You can bet that attitude's going to be smack dab in the middle of every instance that Mackey's character, Sam, has to deal with the military. Every last military member is going to shit on him over Steve Rogers. Every last one of them. Because they wouldn't have showed you that in the trailer if it wasn't going to be brought over and over and over and over and over and over and over.
I'm just sitting over here because I'm like, oh, I didn't even think about like every turn is going to have some
You wait.
like, swing like that. No, but now I'm like, yeah.
You remember
yeah.
Ross was like, I don't know if I can trust you. And the next line, they cut him. And the next line's going to be, I could trust Steve, though.
Oh,
Because
yeah,
he was
no, of
white,
course.
you know, Sam, because he was white.
They're going to have. No,
I can't take these Jungle Bunny Captain Americas.
See, that's what Harrison actually said. That's what they had to cut.
That's when he's transforming, right?
Yeah.
And the shock of hearing the president of the United States say that causes the helicopter pilot to crash. It's nothing to do with the Hulk. It's just what he said. It causes it to crash. He's like, oh my God, I can't believe he said it.
They just happened to catch the president on a live mic. It's like, when did they start letting vine swingers in the Avengers?
Black Panther 3, U.S. versus
coming.
Wakanda.
That's coming. With the AI mouth changer now, they're going to put Uncle Ruckus coming out of the Red Hulk as he's throwing cars at him, and he's saying all that shit.
God, why couldn't it be Mel Gibson playing the Red Hulk? That would just be.
That would be better, like literally too.
Well,
That
if
would
it
be better
isn't
casting.
Captain Sugar Tit.
Yeah, Mel Gibson just sees what's her name? Just Captain Israel comes into the room, and just the sight of her is what makes her Hulk out.
Like seriously, that was such a missed opportunity. Just come on, Marvel.
Hey Mel, do you want to relive this thing that almost ended your career?
The worst.
You want to
mistake of your
reenact
life?
that?
Yeah.
Maybe you want to close the loop on what caused it? You feeling like you want to punch a woman? Huh? You want to punch a woman, buddy?
You want to come full circle with your career?
Say, think about your Laker tickets, Mel.
Hey, it's okay. He's very passionate of the Christ too, so
You
it would work.
you got Marky Mark calling him up like, don't do it, dude.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. We got that Vegas thing. We got that Vegas thing.
God just sent me a message. Don't do it, Mel. Don't do it.
Don't do it. I got all the cheeseburgers, Mel. It's not worth
Mel,
it. Come have a
I'll give you all the
burger.
cheeseburgers. I'll give you all the cheeseburgers. Just don't do it, Mel.
Oh my God! Like just you mentioning Vegas just made me. I don't know if Spencer is up to date with Thatch Bell too. Remember that act that they did?
Yeah.
in Vegas?
I know what you're talking about. Go read that Bell.
So I still want to see Mark.
Ruffalo.
Ruffalo?
No, Mark. Marky Mark. Yeah, I keep forgetting his last name.
It's on the
So-
tip of my tongue, but I'm just going with. I always.
Wahlberg, yeah. It's Mark Wahlberg. I still want to see Mark Wahlberg and Tomino, Gundam's creator Tomino, stop 9/11. I want to see that movie. They both talked about it in interviews now, boldly and honestly. And I want both of them. I want them to stop 9/11 together. I think it would be great. I think it would be wonderful.
Both of them are on the plane and they happen to sit next to each other. And Tomino discusses the theoreticals of like stopping a hijacking. And when it happens, Mark Wahlberg goes, "This is a sign from God. I have to do it." He was just talking to me.
No. Here's the
Oh my
switch.
God.
Here's the switch. Mark doesn't speak Japanese. So he's just. But so like the hijacking's going on. Tomino's got a gun though, right? So he produces the gun. He's talking to him. He's explaining the plan and what they're gonna do. And Mark says, "I don't know what you just said, but you've got a gun. So you and we are best friends now."
I know.
Tomino.
I just
No, go
can't.
ahead, do it again.
I can't think of like this is something would be something straight out of Zatch Bell because of the stupidity of it.
Yeah, right. That
No,
one time that
100%.
Tomino
Oh
and
my
Mark
God.
Wahlberg stopped 9/11. That's a
No,
drug
just
history
no.
episode I want to see.
No, like just the type of comedy from it. If you've read Zatch Bell manga, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It would be that level of insanity. The anime does not capture the insanity that is that manga. It is so stupid.
So
Not
the end
even
of it.
close.
The end of it, right? Here's the end of it. So you got they're coming up on it. They're right there. They break into the cabin. They get the guys out, but they're right there. They're going right for. Tomino's in the pilot seat. He's got the plane, and Mark Wahlberg says to him, "You ever fly one of these things before?" And he says, "We will spread our wings to the future." And he's
Is that a yes or a no? Is that a yes or a no?
He jerks the thing, and it just flies between it. Flies between it. Spread our wings to the future. Even though that path leads directly into a line of buildings across the street, like the China Wall, it looked like he flew through without touching a thing.
If the director is worth his salt, when Tomino gives that speech right before he threads the needle, they'll play a like the main Gundam theme. motif.
Gundam.
Yeah. or that
Like
music.
tilts.
I forget the track, but the song they play when Char and Amuro turn into new types, and they here at the end. That's what we'll play while he's like.
That's great. That's beautiful. And that'd be great. And they've landed the plane, stuff like that. Mark Wahlberg, stuff like that. He's like, "Thank you very much." And Tomino, they're bowing to each other and they walk away and they're like, "Did you know that guy?" "No, I don't even know what the hell he was saying the whole time."
I have no idea.
No, I didn't even know the hell he was saying the whole time.
But Wahlberg has to not know, and Tomino needs to think he's like Mel Gibson or something. Like, who was that? I saved the day with Mel Gibson.
Right, he's back with the Mel Gibson and I stopped 9/11.
The post-credit scene.
No.
TV, like,
Denzel Washington. He
Yes!
thinks he's Denzel Washington.
Yes!
Oh my god.
I save a day with the Denzel.
Right, and so the Japanese make one of those movies about it. It's like one of those made-for-television movies. It's way overdone. They've got the like UFO helmets and the visors and the big shoulder pads and stuff like that. You know, the laser guns. They're doing the tokusatsu poses.
I was gonna say like the old Ultraman costumes. That's all they did. Like the science team units.
Denzel-sama, break in the door. And then,
but of course,
Captain Washington beam.
and then exactly. It turns into they take control of the first plane, and then they transform and they get into a mecha battle with the second plane.
yeah, right, exactly. Mid-air mecha battle right above 9/11, right in the towers, right above the towers.
And while they're having that fight, they forgot that Tower 7 is over there, and that just mysteriously goes down.
Right. At the end of the battle, you know when the random explosion happens at the end of the sword battles. And it's, what was that?
World Trade Center 7.
Did you do that? No, I didn't do that.
I didn't do that.
No.
Yeah, you just see
Saudi Arabia did that. But yeah, no, that would be great. We've already invented the best movie of 2024.
Both of them, I feel like if we, obviously we don't have anybody we could get this to, but if by some chance, a miracle, somehow both of them heard that idea, I kind of feel like both of them would.
Zachary Levi.
They would be on board. Oh, Levi would definitely be on board.
Zachary Levi would be the guy for it. Absolutely. We'll just write him a tweet. Hey, Zach, do you want to make a really dumb movie for no reason at all?
I'm in.
That's 90% of Hollywood right now.
Can't be worse than Chuck.
Can't be worse than Captain America: Brave New World.
Trust me, there are way worse movies out there.
It can't be worse than Wicked.
I don't even.
At least this one isn't 3 hours.
At least
sitting with this. I'm spending time with this.
Well, at least this one isn't doesn't have an actress that's saying that they did this for like Black queer women. Oh my god, like this press tour, man.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this last week, right? Like, Cynthia Erivo is one of like two Black alphabets, and now she's gotten hard that this is a racial thing. It's always been a racial thing. It's like,
it's gotten worse. it's gotten worse because we covered last night. She's now just going around like doing like the media tour. First of all, she looks like a ghoul, so that's not helping her at New Words. And then secondly, she's like
genuinely looks like a character from like a Dave Chappelle skit about drug dealers. Like she's got like the beanie on because she shaved her eyebrows. She's always looking like this.
Is anyone old enough to remember Ghost and Ghouls from the Genesis era?
Oh my god.
But no, not only that, but it's like every interview she does, she's like having like a mental, like emotional breakdown where she's like crying about what this film means for like queer people or something like that. And Ariana Grande, who also looks like she has cancer, is like holding her hand in like every single interview as she's like crying it out. And it's like, oh my god, these are the two stars of the movie. Like, what are we doing?
It's so bad. It's pretty like. It's embarrassing is kind of all the best word I can come up with. That's not like profanity laden.
Mm-hmm. Like all I can think of, like when I'm watching this too, like there's some executive like sitting in a boardroom right now with his hands on his head, going, "Oh my god, I'm gonna lose the house. Like we're gonna have to move back in with my sister."
Dude, I saw they spent like 600 million on the marketing on this alone, which is like double what they spent on the movie itself.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like. What is wrong with you people? What is wrong with you? And it's like we talked about, Jacob, like this first one probably will do well because it's Wicked. It's got the name on it. But as soon as people find out there's part 2, and the more these people keep talking, the more people are going to tune out of the next one.
There are wicked crocs. There are wicked crocs.
That's what I'm talking about. Like, how is that even a Wicked cup? It's just pink. Why did you have to pay for that?
But it's wicked pink.
Shut up.
That could have been from the Barbie movie, for all you know.
Wicked pink. That's what it is.
I like those Crocs at the heels, though. That's kind of a nice touch.
I take it that no one in this movie is Knuff.
No.
Nobody's Knuff.
I'm Kadun. That's for sure.
What is
the Wicked thing's a tragedy. I read the book and I saw the musical. One of my girlfriends was into that musical.
The book's good though, right?
Yeah, I did.
The book's good.
The thing about the book is that at no point are you meant to feel like a true sense of sympathy for Elphaba.
Exactly.
She is always talking out of this to both sides of her face. She's two-faced throughout the whole story. She is on the cover, literally with the brim of her hat down, smirking at you. It's telling you right before you pull open the book, this is just lies. This is not going to be the truth. This is shady. I'm not looking you in the eye. And that whole thing, and it completely lost them. They, like as usual, most fan fiction writers, they will take a look, like a surface look at a property, and they will go, aha, there is an aggrieved party and an oppressive party. That's all I need to know.
Yeah.
Right. And green means black. So here we go. Just like how orcs became black. I mean, that must be great.
Became black.
Right. That must be great, right? You're just out there like being a regular old D&D player, and your paladin is of African descent, even though that African thing doesn't exist, just like Europe doesn't exist. We just assume that white and black people and Asian people are humans. It's what man is in the D&D world. We just assume, by the way, that we're all who we are here on Earth, not just good old whitey, but whatever. Nope, orcs are black people. Why? They are. Do you mean that orcs remind you of black people? No. You're the racist for having orcs and making them the savages because those are black people.
Yeah,
how'd you get there? How did you? How did you get that conclusion though? How did you look at the orcs and go, that's right? That's Martin Lawrence right there.
Mm-hmm.
That's
the jungle bunnies. I see him again.
But this has been like the typifying problem with this whole thing where we got to treat these characters this way because they're black coded. Excuse you?
Oh, I hate that stupid
Excuse
word.
you?
Coded.
Orcs have always been the antagonist, evil creatures that eat human beings. That's been their thing. If you want to play an orc in a party, you're usually a jackass in the party. That's usually your role.
Okay, look, no, I don't support communism, right? I think we're pretty clear on that. However, if you do unironically,
Where's your? You have a Che Guevara shirt. I know you, Jacob.
But if you unironically use the term black coded, I feel like we should do like Stalin used to do and just shoot people in the street to make an example out, just so
Right.
that doesn't spread.
What the hell is black coded? What does black coded mean? What does gay coded mean? What does straight coded mean? What
Well, that's
only
what my
is an
favorite
excuse.
thi-
Right,
no,
there you go.
Keep going. No, keep going.
Well, I just want to say
think-
it's
I think
only
you're
an
about to hit what I'm gonna
excuse to
say.
try and encapsulate a complex argument into a simplistic one because there's no excuse for the complex argument to begin with.
Yep.
That's
Well,
all.
it's that, and it really is just it's racism, but good, right? Because what they're essentially going is the same crowd always goes like, don't do stereotyping. None of those ever exist, right? And like a difference between like what I was saying earlier, where like you guys are getting your stereotypes from the wrong place, as opposed to they don't exist. They do exist. They exist, like Cider said, for a reason. But they go, no, they don't exist. But I'm going to use the most stereotypical like reads of your behavior to say you are this, right? And it's like, oh, this character happens to be, poor and not have a dad, black coded. It's like, what are you trying to say? What the fuck? Like, that's racist. Like that little black kid gif.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, Cider, you've seen that something else that's been coming out of the interviews is that they're saying that Elphaba and Glinda are gay for each other. Like, I'm just like, what?
I hope so.
What?
Yep. Because
You know
that's what
what?
they need to
Fine.
do. But they don't have any other option. They didn't make Barbie gay. That's the only thing they can do to get a leg up on Barbie. Is make the lead characters gay. That's it. They don't have any other room. They got brightly colored characters, fantastical realm, impossible architecture, all that crazy musical stuff. Everything Barbie did. They have to make the main characters gay in order to top Barbie. That's all that's left. There's nowhere else. They even put a trans Barbie in there. They can't even go that route. They have to make the main characters gay for each other. I promise you, if you went over to Archive of Our Own, if you wanted that stuck in your search history, if you went over there right now,
There's a holiday tomorrow. We cannot tell people to spend their free day going down
That's
this
true.
rabbit hole. We
It's
will lose some of
dangerous.
them. Hey, it's PNHD. I'm looking out for you. I'm kidding, not you.
right, it's dangerous. If you're hearing popping, my neighbors are setting off fireworks just a little bit over. So,
Thanksgiving Day fireworks, just like the engines.
my neighbors love setting off fireworks. It doesn't have to be Thanksgiving, any holiday. It's just a random day and they're fireworking. But the thing with Wicked is that you go over the Archive of Our Own and search Wicked, and if you put a time sort on it for before this movie was announced, you're going to find miles and miles and miles of slash fiction or whatever girl on girl fiction is called of those two being paired together just forever. You'll even find stuff based off the original Wizard of Oz story without the Wicked influence that Glenda and the Wicked Witch of the West before she was Elphaba, when she was just that character that we saw with the weird nose and melted when water got on her. There's plenty of fan fiction about those two. And the thing is that this is all they know how to do. I realized this when I started looking up fan fiction related to Rey and Leia as a joke. I was like, this is no way. Nobody's gonna do this. This is disgusting. Old lady, young lady, nobody does this. They do. They do a lot of it, and it has something to do with a blue dress, and I have no idea, but there's hundreds of them that revolve around a fucking blue dress.
Oh my
And I
God.
have no idea why. But
Shippers
there's
are a
hundreds
weird
of them.
breed. They are
Yeah.
a weird breed.
Yeah.
I am
But-
a shipper, mind you, but I'm not that kind of shipper.
But Rhea is real. That's a real thing out there. Now I searched it as a joke, thinking I would find like somebody that would like, this would be a funny thing to put together. And they create some jokey thing where the two of them are scissoring on top of a mountain or something, right? But no,
No,
there's
it's real.
14,000 of those.
What?
14,000 of those.
I didn't
Of
think
the
there was
Star
that
Wars
many.
fan fictions, there's only a few that like the pairings that top Rey and Leia for whatever
What?
reason.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Did you say Ray and Leia was 14,000?
14,000 on Archive of Our Own when I searched it 3 years ago when I started making that joke.
Oh my
Even
God.
if I was gonna make like a joke guess and be like, play devil's advocate, 14. That's so high. I would have gone like 1, maybe.
Yeah, no,
like
there's
1,000, maybe.
You go ahead, you search any shipper on there. It is in the tens of thousands now. When we were younger, seeing something with 1,500 around its tag, a category with 1,500 on it was a lot. Now, seeing sub 50,000 on a category is like that.
Yeah.
It's got to go. It's too slow. It's trimmed. That's got some really weird shit in it. Don't go in there. And that's what it is. Is that there's millions of them now. Fanfiction.net, where I came up. That is just wall to wall disgusting underage shit now. You cannot get through. Yeah, I am debating deleting all of my accounts on there and just saying goodbye to like almost like 15 years of reviews pushing me along in my writing, you know? Because like I don't want anybody like mistakenly running across my shit and going, "Oh, that's what Zyder's into. He's on this website." You know, it's like finding they have a Mastodon account or something.
We used to be a good country, and fanfiction.net used to not be full of smut.
There was smut, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't
like full on smut. Same with Angel Fire, it was the same thing. It wasn't like full on smut. I used to read
like I said, there used to be people who actually cared about the franchises that they were like doing fan fiction for. Like for example, it's like Nergans, we've talked about this all the time. It's like we haven't heard like a Digimon series that actually like fully fleshed out kind of the angle of like the Royal Knights and the Demon Lord. So what you see, you used to have like fans who would go out there and try to make their own like fan fiction based on that, but they could try to come up with that own story. Now they're just sitting there like, oh, I wonder if we can get Yoli and Carly to bang each other. That'd be great. And so they make like a whole fan fiction based off of that alone. And it's like, dude, I want to read this shit. I don't want this stuff in my browser history.
Yeah, man. See, it's a huge tragedy in all of this is that like I deleted a lot of my stuff. I only have the reviews left because those stick. You can keep those. And I deleted a lot of my stuff, but I have my account still, so it freaks me out. I'm not telling you who I am, but it's
like no, my Power Rangers softcore Skinamax series is gonna stay dead. It's gonna be buried in the comments of the internet.
My M-rated Forever Yellow fan fiction is now under threat.
To be 1,000% honest, I knew from the beginning if I put any sexual thing on the internet, my parents may find it someday. So. I knew that I had no choice but to be very tempered. So when I created this stuff,
if only 16-year-olds on Instagram learned that same lesson the whole time.
If only 14-year-olds on Twitter would know this lesson.
Hey, if only 60-year-old movie studio executives could learn this lesson. How about that? Huh? So anyway. What I learned was that this space was rapidly invaded by horny women. And they have no limit to the depravity when they feel like they can't be judged for it. Now, men, of course, fall into this account. A great deal of horrible sex crimes were invented by men when they felt that they would not be held accountable for it.
Yeah, but at least ours actually had a plot.
Well... Wow. I mean, that's...
Good night, everybody.
It's gonna take me a second to find the button there because I don't reach for it too often here these days. Forget I said that.
Hey, at least ours wasn't like 30 minutes of filler.
Oh my god.
So well,
my cat. Look at that! You scared my cat. Look at that! He just walked away.
Yeah,
one could argue that it was all filler.
Yeah, Anyway, what I'm getting at though is that the depravity is pretty deep there, and it took over very quickly. Not that it didn't have it before, but that rapidly became the attraction to both of those places, FF and AO3. And it's really sad because those people were really coming up with good ideas. The Star Trek people were especially talented. Star Wars people, I remember that the prequels were very popular when I was coming up. There was a lot of writing about what was going on with the clone troopers. A lot of writing about the clone troopers. And they weren't butt fucking each other. They were actually doing missions and being cool. And Captain Rex was really, really into philosophy for some fucking reason in the fan fictions. Like, I don't know. Everybody decided he had a pocket philosophy book from some jackass in the 19th century in our world.
Why not?
I don't know how.
Why the hell not?
Right. And it was only occasionally that you'd run across something about Twilight, something to that effect, where you'd be a fan fiction where they'd be having like wild sex and going to My Chemical Romance concerts and shit, you know? And
Those were very much the outliers.
right, those were, and you'd read those for like the pure thrill of it because they were the outliers, and that those ones would get a lot of reviews because people were like, I didn't expect this whatsoever, you know. And it's not great, but I am absolutely thrilled with what I'm reading because I can't look away from it like a traffic accident. And so that kind of attitude just spread. And so horror upon horror continued to build until we ended up with this. And to be honest with you, before we jump into Jacob's clip, I want to say that I think Wicked will be probably the last, even though the success of this, it'll probably be the last movie that does this because we have, well, here's what I wanted to say is that we have reached
this whole
the big wokeify things about got to make the main characters gay. Green is black, oppression, Olympics.
I just wanted to make sure which angle. Yeah, we were talking about. Yeah.
I think this is the last that'll do it because woke has gone so quickly out of style among most of the like influencer groups, even Hassan Piker's like pulling back off of the domestic political stuff he talks about. He's sticking more to talking about Gaza and the global stuff.
Yeah,
and
stuff.
You know,
so is this Wicked or is this Gremlins 3? Like, what is this?
Well, exactly, and that's what I wanted to point out is that I think this is the end. This is going to be like this is the apex of it. Is what I'm saying. This is the ultimate evolution.
Apex,
of
definitely.
Right.
This we still got to get the stuff out, right? Like the stuff that was in production, right? Like you still got to get it out there.
Yeah.
But nothing new. Yes, but that's all I was saying. Yeah.
Yeah, and so this will be the last of them that really does this, I think. From here, it won't go snap back to the 90s, but they're going to go start working their way back from, C-3PO's gay and R2-D2 is a lesbian. They're going to walk that back and be more like, I love little robots. They're so cute.
Empire Strikes Back was inherently queer or whatever they want to say.
They're going to walk away from doing that stuff. They're going to stop talking about feminist intersectionality with lightsabers, and there'll be just a quiet nod that women are stronger than men in these sort of things, and that'll be how it goes. So
we can only hope. But I mean, I don't think you're off base, but we can only hope.
Right. So what are they saying now, Jacob, in this clip?
I don't know. She's crying about something. Who cares?
At the end of it, they said, you have to be good and you have to be kind to everybody.
Whoa.
And she is a good witch.
Yeah, that's the message.
You know what I mean? It's that impact.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
Did you know that actors can cry on command? Did you know that?
She is a good witch.
If like kids can feel that, then yeah.
So I guess they're trying to in this movie, like the witch is good now, even though that kind of goes against the entire origin of her character and who she actually is in reality.
It goes against the entire Wicked plot. That's what Nerdigans was saying. Is like the plot is that Elphaba comes to Oz or whatever, and she gets sort of the short end of the stick, but she's not entirely like innocent. Like she is kind of an ass herself, and she makes those decisions like, okay, fine,
if anything,
I'm gonna become a witch. Like she does that whole tantrum type thing.
Yeah, if anything, this should be kind of like an origin story similar to Cruella de Vil, where it's like we all know Cruella de Vil is like a massive bitch, but here's how she became that massive bitch. Like we're not trying to like mere imagine her. It's like, oh, she's just a misunderstood good guy. People, it's like she's not really that bad. And it's like this is what they're trying.
That's what the Wicked book does. The Wicked book doesn't make her a sympathetic villain at all.
Like she gets screwed for sure by like the wizard, and you can be like, oh man, you did.
Well,
get
you kind of figured the wizard was a complete asshole anyway.
But what I'm saying, no, of course. But what I'm saying is like, yes, she gets screwed there, but it was never supposed to be like a keep she's a good witch, keep her downtrodden sort of thing. It was more. The wizard's an ass.
Yeah, exactly.
It could have been anybody. It was just her who happened to be in his orbit when he went mad.
Do you know Cruella de Vil's origin story?
Yeah, her mom got pushed off of a cliff by Dalmatians.
No.
So now she wants to kill all Dalmatians.
No, that's not what happened. She got shot by a Dalmatian.
Would have been
that explains
way
everything.
better of a movie. Would have been way better of a movie.
He's
I
got a
unfortunately
gun.
saw that.
It'd be funny if it was just like some dude in a Dalmatian like outfit, like some bank robber who just happened to be dressed
But
as
the whole
Dalmatian.
time.
Oh,
But
like
the
that
whole time.
What is
Yeah.
that show? They had that show on like FX with Elijah Wood where his dog. Do you know what I'm talking about?
The
Where, like, he
neighbor's
had a-
dog.
Yeah, but like the neighbor's
Reggie or
dog was.
something.
Yeah, but it was like represented by a guy in a suit, but everybody
Yes.
else saw him as It's like that's
Okay,
what I'm imagining.
now I'm just picturing
Yeah,
like some like 1920s bank robber in a Dalmatian costume, like, yeah, see, give me all the money.
It would have
Tommy
worked back
gun.
then too. Are you kidding me? In the 1920s, by God, did you know we got robbed by a dinosaur? Like or
But
a
I-
Dalmatian? They would have believed it.
But I
Yep.
just wanna say, like, throughout the whole first part of the movie, when they're introducing all the dogs and all what's going on and relationship with them and whatnot, there's clearly a man wearing a dog costume. Everybody and their brother can see that is a man. He's just sitting in a chair like a man with his legs crossed, right? And it's clearly a man in a dog costume.
Yeah.
But they don't recognize him as that. Then the third act happens. He pulls the gun out, loads it, cocks it, and then takes aim right there in the down, pulls the hood up, and takes it.
I need to know how it ends. How do we resolve it? How does the scene end?
Bang. And then the real folk blues start playing as Cruella's
there
mother
we go.
falls over the edge of the balcony.
It goes all sepia toned.
The real folk blues.
It starts raining.
I was gonna go with Chicken Bone, but yeah, we can go with that one as well.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and that's hilarious. But we are headed into midnight
wow.
here on
Yeah,
my
you
side of
guys-
the coast.
You and Nerdigans.
We've been rambling on for a while now.
It's a ramble factory. So let's cut to the chase, shall we?
We shall.
Miss Nerdigans, where will we find you after this?
You can find me on my YouTube channel, Nerdigan Think, where I talk about anime and manga every day. On Patreon, patreon.com/PackerGirl, where I am doing anime live reactions for Dragon Ball Daima and for Bleach 1000-Year Blood War. On my Twitter, right here, we are doing a live tweet for Pokemon Adventures. It has been a very fun reread. I gotta thank Jacob for getting me to do a reread for Pokemon Adventures. Because I'm gonna end up covering it on my channel again, which will be really fun. I'm also bad because I should have probably sent it to you sooner. Something that I found during one of my live reactions I did on Sunday for a new series by the mangaka of We Never Learn, Taishi Tsutsui. We found a very interesting botched translation where the Viz localizer put in "screw that gender noise" when it was supposed to be their gender/sex as such isn't necessary. So I will send that to you after this, Spencer.
Yeah, we'll take a look at it. It sounds like it'll be a good one.
Yeah, I got the translation confirmed. Otherwise, I wouldn't be mentioning it. But yeah, the series is really, really good too. But anyways, I know that speaking of Pokemon Adventures, the Pokemon Adventures retro wave is starting when? Next week, Jacob?
Yeah, next week we'll do the next episode of the Retro Wave.
Yeah, which is Ruby and Sapphire.
Yep.
All right. And then I didn't do Barroom yesterday because I was not feeling good, but I should be doing it next week. And of course I will be here next Wednesday as well. So.
All right. Mr. Jacob, where do we find you after this?
Find me over at Society Reviews. We do some editing over the next couple of days. I'm almost completely caught up on all the movies that I need to catch up on. I was at like 13 last week, and now I'm down to I think 1.
You made the most insane statement, and this isn't like a promo. It's just I need to say this because I was so taken aback. But you were like, after you caught up the other day, you were like, I finally caught up with all the or I'm almost caught up with the movies, and I've watched like 3 of my top like films of the year in this run. And I was like, are you serious? Like, what the hell? You never get that lucky.
Yeah, so it's a bunch of movies that I've just been sitting on for a while, but I guess quick little shout out to 3 movies that I did catch up on. Officer Black Belt, which is probably my new favorite movie of the year. That's on Netflix, by the way, if you want to check that out on your own time. Late Bloomers, which is a film with Karen Gillian, and then Sweet Dreams is actually a Johnny Knoxville film. We're in the tail end of my top 10 at the moment, but yeah, those 3 movies I definitely put over pretty big. So, but outside of that, like I said, Friday we'll be doing a Friday Night Movie Club on Moana 2. We only have about 5 more episodes left before we retire that show, and I'm already working on the details of a new show that will start in 2025 called Movie House, which we'll be doing every couple of weeks, talking about the movie stuff of the week and reviews and retro stuff. So that'll be coming out soon. Bibleins is coming out this Sunday. We'll be talking about Calvinism and why Calvinism is false. So that should be a fun one because people love hearing the stuff about that. And then next Tuesday, Barroom. We'll be back with some more stuff going on here too. And like I said, I know we got the Craven review and the Sonic 3 review coming up too as well. So yeah, that's everything I got coming up.
Mr. Spencer, where do we find you after this?
You definitely don't find me in the theater for Craven the Hunter. But yes, after this, guys, as always, first, before I sign off, I want to say thank you to everybody for coming and hanging out with us on this Thanksgiving Eve. I know a lot of you are probably busy. A lot of you probably had us on as background noise, but we appreciate hanging out with you. I hope everybody has a great holiday tomorrow. I hope everybody gets the food they like. I know sometimes it happens to me. I'm like, oh, I'm excited for this dish, and I show up and it's not there, and it's the worst. So I hope nothing like that happens. I hope you all eat well, hang out well. I hope your football teams do better than mine. As always, check out boundingintocomics.com every day where we're putting up new news stories. Check out the YouTube channel where Cider is also covering news stories that you won't find on the website. You can find my own channel over at Kabuto Studios here on YouTube. If you guys, I've had like 2 or 3 people bring this to me lately, but if you've noticed, I used to say Studio Kabuto. Now I'm saying Kabuto Studios. That's only because I got I got Kabuto Studios as a handle back from YouTube. They released it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So now it's like the proper one. So that's what it is now. So check that one out if you want to hang out with me. Aside from that, I'm always hanging out with one of these 3 beautiful people in their live stream somewhere. So follow whatever they're doing. And yeah, have a great night.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone, and please make sure to keep your blood pressure in check, as well as your blood sugar.
Into the night with a fire that burns so bright. Speed of light and a heart so strong. Chasing dreams where I belong. Thunder in the midnight air. Wings of steel, we're almost there. Racing towards the stars aglow. To the only place I know. Sky Rider Deluxe. Flying high with the stars above. Sky Rider Deluxe. Feel the power, feel the love. No fear, no turning back. On this endless hero's track. In the dark.